young family, torn apart by a brazen attack.
No! She's been shot and shot and shot and shot.
My life was never going to be the same, and I knew we weren't going to see her again.
There's been a shooting?
That kind of trauma probably would never leave that kid.
It's a case that strikes a powerful emotional chord for Lieutenant Joe Kenda.
Joe Kenda, I could tell he was really upset.
I said, I want you to know, I'm going to find who hurt your mother.
But can he hunt down the killer before the death toll rises?
He's got a gun, and they're riding around town. This is a guy running with a gun. You don't get any more dangerous than that.
Everybody got him.
Emotion has the terrible habit of overcoming your judgment. Humans recover from emotional events. If you introduce a gun, no one's going to recover. They're just going to die. There's one thing that never changes. Murder. A life has been taken. Their stories are now my stories. I never know where a case is going to lead, but I'll never stop until it's solved. Somebody has to look out for the victim. If you kill, I will find you.
A full moon shimmers down on the city of Colorado Springs. It's a weeknight, and most people are fast asleep, including a young woman named Gwen Watson.
Gwen has been asleep for a little while. All of a sudden she's awakened, and it's that kind of awakening where you can't figure out exactly why you woke up at first.
What's wrong with you? Come on. I'm not doing anything.
And she sees her roommate Pam bleeding out.
Gwen's trying to check on her, notes that there's a large pool of blood starting to expand around Pam's body.
Meanwhile, across town, Lieutenant Joe Kenda is up late doing battle with a regrettably familiar foe.
I often sleep for an hour or two at a time, and then I'm awake. When I would do that, I would get up and I would read. I prefer historical books. And as I'm sitting there reading about Oliver Cromwell, who wanted to overthrow the throne, the phone rang.
It's Kenda.
I've been annoyed that I'm awake, and now I have to be awake.
Normally quiet, the 3100 block of Vale Pass Drive is now inundated with flashing lights and first responders.
You have to find a place to park is the first problem, because you've got all this emergency equipment and mark units. You want it walking from 2 blocks away.
How you doing? So what's going on?
We've got 2 shot. We've got one transported to St. Francis already. The other one didn't make it. 25-year-old male, Freddie Hill. He's at the hospital.
He had several gunshot wounds, arm and to the chest area. He was alive at the scene, transported from the scene to a local hospital for emergency treatment.
The victim, 27-year-old Pamela Edwards, leaves behind an estranged husband and 2 little girls.
Pam was a nurse's aide. She had a good job. She was a responsible worker. She was apparently just a really attractive personality.
Hey, Brian. Lieutenant.
Blood is a necessary component of a violent crime scene. Some are worse than others. This has an enormous amount of blood present.
The other one's back that way. All right, go take a look.
Now, beginning where Freddie was shot, which is the sofa, there's quite a bit of blood on the sofa, but there's no blood trail leading up to it, which tells me he was shot on this sofa and remained on the sofa to bleed.
directs his attention across the room to the body of Pamela Edwards.
Pamela is at the base of the stairs, lying in a fetal position. There is a growing pool of blood under her.
Swear to God.
Gunshots, just all over. 3 that we found so far. Got left hand, abdomen, last one clipped her heart.
Pamela Edwards has been shot and shot and shot and shot. One literally tearing her heart.
Was this horrific and discovers a clue?
Get tweezers?
There's expended casings. They are .380 caliber, common ammunition easily available. Nothing unusual about it. The thing I noticed most, there's a live round next to the female. Now that's significant because if you understand guns, it speaks to the emotion of the shooter. He is so angry that he racks the slide of that pistol to make sure it's loaded, and he ejects a live round before he starts shooting. That speaks to the level of intent of your shooter.
Kenda is beginning to suspect the double shooting was personal in nature, and he knows a simple way to prove his theory.
Any signs of forced entry?
I look at the front door, which is very close to where the first victim is discovered. How did this perpetrator get in here? Forced entry is indicative of a stranger case. Did he force his way in? Was he invited in?
The front door did not show signs of damage as in the result of being kicked in.
But that's when Detective Brian Ritz notices something unusual.
Oh, that's weird. Hey, look at this.
Some scuff marks on the lower portion of the door may be consistent with somebody kicking at the door, trying to knock loudly with their foot.
Looks like somebody was pissed.
Whoever it is extremely emotional before he even gets inside.
But despite the aggressive behavior, Pam or Freddie let that person in.
Now, when you have multiple victims in a shooting in a private home, then you always have this question. Who's the target?
You gotta say my money's on the girl. You know, it's her place, and it's most likely. Too soon to know yet, though. Where's the witness? The girl that called 911?
She's up in the master bedroom.
She can vacate the premises?
We had a letter state, Lieutenant. She's up there with the victim's 2 daughters.
There's kids.
Yes.
We've got 2 kids upstairs. What?
That's kind of contrary to normal procedures, but for the mental security of the children, it is best that they did not have to see her mother laying at the foot of the bed.
They're just in here.
Okay.
According to responding officers when they first arrived, Pam's daughters were already in her bedroom, Lamaya, age 8, and Tanaya, age 7.
They've been doing okay.
They're okay for right now. We're just all still in shock.
Okay.
Hey, girls. You doing okay?
I remember the police came and they told us that we could not leave because it was a crime scene.
You two just sit tight, okay? I'll check back on you in a little bit.
Everybody there was like great officers. Like, seriously, they protected me. And my sister is...
Then children don't understand death. They don't know that it's final, and you can't fix it. You can't tell them it's going to be okay because it's not going to be okay.
Kenda now faces the grim task of questioning Gwen about the murder of the girl's mother.
Gwen, can I come in for a second? I'm a police officer.
Sure.
And I open the door, and the little girls are there. It's a horrible emotional event. You have this overwhelming feeling. I'd just like to make this go away for them.
Lieutenant Kenda, can I ask you 2 questions?
Hey, girls.
So you live here?
Yeah. Pam's letting me stay here for a little while. Until I get out of my little situation.
From everything Gwen says, it's hard to imagine anyone wanting to harm Pamela Edwards.
My mother was very caring.
That's easy for me.
Very funny. She was down to earth. Like, everybody wanted to be around her. She was just awesome. We were her pride and joy. She lived for us, you know. A lot of the times it was just me, her, and my sister, you know. So she let us know that she loves us, how much we meant to her.
Kenda wonders if the presence of Freddie Hill in the home might have been the catalyst that triggered the incident.
Why was Freddie here tonight?
He just came over to hang out. We both know him.
She took the kids and put them in bed, and we were just watching TV. Well, guys, I head off the bed now. It's still early, and you put the movie on. I mean, I'll pass out right here if I don't go to bed now.
Good night, Granny. Was there something going on between the two of them?
Not that I know of, but I know he had a crush on her. It's kind of why I turned in early, so they could be alone together.
A few hours later, Gwen was awakened by the commotion downstairs. And then stepped into a scene of unthinkable violence. Gwen also explains that Pam's children did in fact witness the carnage.
It was so much blood. And I just remember screaming, Mommy, no, Mommy. Mommy. I remember my sister, she tried to cover my eyes, but I still saw her laying at the edge of the stairs, and I think she looked at me, and I looked at her. I was trying to speak to her, and she couldn't talk. She was just gasping for air.
Step up for them.
Gwen says she immediately got the girls into the bedroom and called 911.
Yes. There's been a shooting. Thank you.
And after the call, did her best to comfort them.
It makes a sinking feeling in your stomach. Life is never going to be the same for them. I know that, and it really bothers me, and you're helpless to do anything about it.
Kenda's heart goes out to Tanaya and Lamaya, and their pain only strengthens his determination to solve the case.
It's just not fair. Pam was such a sweet person. She never deserved to be a target.
Target?
And I thought that was an interesting choice of a word. What do you mean by target?
Do you know someone was out to get her?
She's got this crazy ex-boyfriend who won't leave her alone. I mean, it's gotta be him.
Oh, really? Now this could mean it all. Right here. There's going to be a judgment day, and it happens to be today. I'm investigating multiple gunshot bloodbath in a townhouse.
Someone brutally murdered Pamela Edwards and put her friend, Freddie Hill, in critical condition.
And the roommate has just told me that she has an instinct of who might be responsible.
Pam was in this on-again, off-again relationship with this creep, Jamal.
Jamal?
Wilson. Jamal Wilson.
So I tell Glenn it's important for me to know everything you know about the relationship.
Gwen starts off by explaining Pam and her husband, Eugene Edwards, separated nearly a year ago. Since then, she'd been dating, and that's where Jamal comes in.
Oh, excuse me. Get this for you.
Pamela met this individual at a gymnasium where Pam goes to work out.
Pal, I'm Jamal.
And he's attracted to Pamela and vice versa. So they begin to date.
They had kind of a whirlwind courtship. But shortly after really spending time with him, some critical issues started to occur. What we call red flags.
You know what? I'm leaving.
You leaving?
I'm leaving because you have a problem, Jamal, and I'm tired of it.
But you the problem over here looking at these men, huh? Come over here. Where do you think you're going? Huh?
He begins accusing Pamela of having a wandering eye, that perhaps that she's interested in other men.
You just walk off on me.
Jealousy is a very powerful emotion. It drives people forward. We're now talking about pure, white-hot rage.
Mom, we finished cleaning our room. But a certain someone can't help it.
So it started with the black eyes, and then it went to having, outbursts in public when people are around, and then it went to beating up people that she even just communicated with. But then, it'll be like she'll vent about it, and then, we'll see him again. She was just a forgiving person, so she fell for it.
It got so bad. A couple of months ago, we put her in the hospital.
He beats her so severely he breaks one of her ribs. He gets arrested for this and gets thrown in the county jail for assault. She then breaks it off with him, gets a restraining order against him, and has nothing further to do with him.
Do you know when he got out of jail?
He's been in and out because he keeps violating the restraining order. But I know he got out on bail a few weeks ago.
Have you seen him since then?
Yeah, it's the same old, same old. He shows up at the house, he shows up at her job. It's scary.
Jealousy doesn't always fade away. Sometimes it festers. We need to get our hands on Jamal and find out what his story is.
Do you know where I can find him?
No, but I can ask around and let you know if I find out.
Thank you, I'd appreciate that.
I hate you, Jamal.
I'm gonna find out who hurt your mother. I promise you.
And then I became emotional.
Joe Kenda, I can tell he was really upset.
Jamal wrote the letter while he was behind bars, so Kenda is going to have to do a little more work to find Jamal's home address.
But I still need to do something to make this less horrific for them when they come down that staircase. There's no other way out.
Stefan?
Pam's body has already been removed, but downstairs is still a mess of blood and gore.
Alright, here's what we're gonna do. These girls have seen too much already. Definitely. So I'll grab a couple blankets. Cover them up. Okay. You girls ready to play a little game?
The police, they did a very good job because I got sheltered from that. One officer helped me and another one helped my sister. And they told us, close your eyes, okay? I'll tell you when to open them. It's very important that everybody that worked that night knows that they were just awesome.
Just a few hours to pull the address for their prime suspect.
Jamal Wilson should have a very clear and recent criminal record.
Correction.
How you doing? This is Joe Kenda over at Homicide.
We call the county jail inmate section and say,
Yeah, you just recently released the Jamal Wilson. He was in custody for domestic assault. You ever try to get an address on him?
and there's silence on the phone.
Who?
It's Jamal Wilson.
Yeah, we don't have a record of a Jamal Wilson in the system.
Are you sure?
Yes, we're sure.
Okay, thank you.
If Jamal was just released from jail, how could there be no information on him in the system?
They don't have a Jamal Wilson in their system.
We heard about the other victim.
Let's take her out of the hospital.
Until Kenda and Ritz can find Jamal Wilson and question him, they need more evidence.
What's beneficial to this investigation is we do have a second victim.
No, no, no!
He is looking right at this guy when the trigger gets pulled. If he knows him, he can tell me who it is. We go to the hospital to talk to Freddie.
You guys are here for Mr. Hill?
Yes, sir.
Freddie's not available to be talked to. He just came out of surgery. He's unconscious. He would have died had he not been brought in there immediately.
But he's going to do just fine.
That's good news. At least we know we're going to have a living witness.
How do you think we can talk to him?
Sure, not yet. When he's awake, I'll have someone come and get him.
Great, thank you.
We sit there for 2 hours, strumming our fingers in a hospital, because we don't have a direction to move in. Freddie has to provide it.
Finally, they get to question the man who can make or break their case.
He is what you expect him to be. He is traumatized emotionally. He is a physical wreck. And I said, Freddie, I know you're in a lot of pain right now, but I need your help. What happened that night?
We just kicking back, watching TV. Gwen, Pam, and I. It started to get late, so Gwen went to bed and she left us alone. I figured it was my chance.
I love chilling with you.
I like that you like hanging out with me.
Because you're a great friend.
Freddie says that just as he and Pam were getting close, all hell broke loose.
Let me check and see what that is, okay?
Open the door, Pam.
Who is that? And right before he shot us, he accused her of lying, cheating.
Hang on a second. Do you know who the shooter is?
Yes, her ex.
So, at this point, it's pretty clear who the suspect is. Or at least it looks pretty clear. The boyfriend, Jamal Wilson, he's beating her up. There's your guy, right?
So how long have you known Jamal Wilson?
Jamal Wilson. I knew the guy that shot us. It wasn't Jamal Wilson.
We're investigating the shooting death of Pamela Edwards. Indications are from witnesses at the scene that the person responsible for this is one Jamal Wilson. We're now in contact with Freddie, the second victim, and he says his name isn't Jamal, so who the hell is he?
He says the individual that shot him was Sammy Denson.
Sammy and Pam used to date.
And you're sure this wasn't somebody else?
I'm positive. I saw it with my own eyes. I've met him before.
Not only can Freddie tell him who it was, but Sammy Denson's known in town. Sammy had been training to be an Olympic boxer.
He's 6'2", 200 pounds. He's a heavyweight boxer, and he's built like one.
You know where we might be able to find him?
In the ring? I just know him from Pam.
Actually, Brian, I know where we can go. All right, thanks for your help, Freddie. I hope you get well soon. We'll get this guy.
Colorado Springs is the headquarters of the U.S. Olympic Committee. The USOC trains many of their athletes for both the Summer and Winter Olympic Games in Colorado Springs.
Kenda figures if anyone knows where to find Sammy Denson, it would be his coach.
We've been up all night, and now it's like early in the morning, but gym's open early.
Hold up! Good job, guys. Good job.
How you doing? I'm Lieutenant Kenda, Detective Ritz.
How you doing? Richard Wood.
Is this your place?
I was level 4 Olympic level coach for USA Boxing, plus a professional boxing trainer. We had world champs, all training out of there.
You never want to identify somebody as a suspect or somebody you don't know. So, I say we're investigating a double shooting, and we have a person we're interested in talking with.
Hey, you know Sammy Denson?
Yeah, I know Sammy. I used to be his coach.
Used to be?
Yeah, I couldn't take him anymore. It's hard watching somebody throw their life away. Come on, let's go! Move, move. Work, good work.
This tall, good-looking kid from Philadelphia walked in, said, I want to fight. I've only heard that 500 times, right? I said, okay.
Good, good, good.
He was that gifted.
Nice, nice.
Richard tells Kenda he set out to sculpt Sammy into a champion, and Sammy's hard work quickly started to pay off.
We were going into the 93 national tournament. As the number 1 ranked guy, he was the man.
Snap that jab, snap the jab. Snap it. Come on, Sammy. What are you doing?
But things had begun to fray a bit. Rode with him a couple of times.
Get your hands up, let's go. Get your bag, let's go.
Young people never understand that they're looking for a dream and a drug that's going to destroy every dream they've ever had in their life.
Me and Sammy been through this so many times. It's the drugs. Every time we get close to where we want to be, he'd be winning the fights and he would lose his stamina.
According to Richard, cocaine ruined Sammy's chance at the title. Even worse, it ruined Sammy's personal life.
He has a girlfriend named Pamela. Beautiful girl. I thought she was going to be the one thing that made him straighten his life out, but his head was so screwed up. He started beating on her.
Prolonged use of cocaine produces a dramatic change in personality. You become paranoid, you become violent.
That's it.
He was a trained fighter. Anything he touched, he could hurt. And for him to hit a smaller woman like that, that's when I had kicked him out of the gym. I told him he wouldn't allow it back.
Last I heard, he put her in the hospital with a broken rib.
You're talking about Pamela Edwards, right?
Yeah.
And Sammy went to jail and Pamela filed a restraining order?
Yeah, that's right.
So I said, everyone else has been telling me about a volatile involvement with a fellow named Jamal Wilson. I don't understand how this could be. And Richard Wood said, oh, I understand.
Well, his given name is Sammy Denson, but he wanted to be called Jamal for whatever reason.
It's the same guy. Now, the fog lifts. We thought we had 2 suspects, and in fact, we only have 1.
According to Richard, their suspect just has a quirky love of nicknames.
No wonder we couldn't find him. We weren't looking for the right name.
Detectives now have enough to charge Sammy Denson with murder and attempted murder. But first, they have to find him.
Is Sammy in trouble again?
We just need to talk to him. Any idea where we can find him?
He has a brother named Wayne. He's been kind of staying over there with him.
Thank you for your help.
Great. We are off and running. We arrive at the place where his brother lives with him. And nobody's there. We look in all the windows, knock on the doors, nothing. We go back to our car and we watch. We sit there for quite some time.
But meanwhile, across town.
Hello? I got this guy who says he killed 2 people in the car.
911 dispatch receives a call from a party named Ruben Caro.
Ruben says he's an acquaintance of Sammy Denson.
We're at a gas station. It's on...
He's riding around town in a car with Sammy Denson, and Sammy's got a gun.
10-4, we're on the way. Head out.
We need to find them, or this is going to end very badly. Has received a call from a bondsman named Ruben Caro.
We're at a gas station.
Says he is riding around town with Sammy Lee Denson, and he's got a gun.
Yeah, I told him I had to go use the bathroom. But I gotta get back soon. He's gonna think something's up.
Ruben tells dispatch officers that he and Sammy met 1 month ago when he contracted with Sammy to post bail.
He posted a $50,000 bond for Denson to get him out of jail on the domestic violence assault charges. So they have some kind of relationship.
Is there anyone else in the car with you and the suspect?
Hey. It's not gonna be all right.
Yeah, his coach, Richard. We've been trying to calm him down. This all happened an hour ago when he gave us a call. Come on, coach, answer.
Sammy is freaking. He's trying to figure out what to do. He calls his coach and his bail bondsman.
Hey, coach, I need to see you, coach. I need to see you right away.
I said I really don't want to hear it, Sammy.
No, coach, this is no bull, man. Something really, really bad happened, coach. I can't hold this any longer. I feel like I'm gonna kill myself, coach.
So I headed down to meet him. Sammy and Ruben were in the front seat. And I got in the back seat and we started driving.
I did something bad, coach.
What happened?
Pam hurt me. She hurt me, man. She know I loved her, man. I seen her cheating on me. I called her cheating with Freddie.
Please tell me you didn't hit her again.
Sam, calm down. Calm down.
I shot them both! What? I shot them both!
No! Come on, man.
Sammy, no! He had caught his girlfriend with another guy, and she broke his heart, so he took hers.
Nobody in my life do me right!
Come on, man. No.
And I was in shock, and then angry when I heard that he had hurt Pam, and angry that he was waving the gun with me and Ruben in the car.
They don't know if he's going to get desperate and kill himself. They don't know if he's going to get upset with them and shoot them. So, not a pleasant ride.
Ruben Caro tells dispatchers that at that point, he was so fearful of what Sammy might do, he made up the story about needing to use the bathroom.
Says they're in his car, personalized plates that say Ruben.
Yeah, I'm gonna try and stall as much as I can.
She should've been cheating on me.
I know she's wrong.
What took you so long?
So we put out the word to all police officers on duty. We need this car, occupant armed and dangerous, wanted for murder.
Kenda and Ritz rush to head Sammy off at the gas station. But when they get there, the trail has run cold.
Lieutenant,
Were they already gone?
yes, sir.
Anybody see which way they went?
No, sir. Timmy car's coming and going.
We're looking for the proverbial needle in a haystack somewhere wandering on the 13,000 known streets in Colorado Springs.
All right, let's find him.
Yes, sir. We're concerned. There is that potential threat for a hostage situation. This needs to come to an end before somebody else gets hurt.
While patrol searches for a vehicle with personalized Ruben plates, Ruben Caro himself is driving aimlessly around the city, praying the police will pull him over.
I got some friends at the police department.
No! Hey, what are you doing?
No, Sammy, no, sir, put it down. Please.
waving the gun. It was very, very intense.
Please, Sammy! We've been through all this, Sammy, together.
I said, I don't think you even understand the depth of what's going on here. What you've done is unforgivable.
Everybody in this car is an emotional wreck. The only problem is one of them's got a gun.
She knew I loved her.
I know that.
Sammy,
It ain't
I
worth it.
love
It
you.
ain't worth it, Sammy. We'll figure it out.
Put the gun down.
As much as Richard and Ruben want the police to intervene, it dawns on them just how dangerous that could be.
We're gonna stop and get something to eat, okay, Sammy? We're gonna get something to eat, and we're gonna work through this, okay?
I knew we needed to get out of the car because in his state of mind, if the cops would have pulled us over and guns would have been drawn, I didn't want to be part of the target.
Take it easy, brother. Just breathe, man. Breathe. Relax.
Everything's good. I got you. Everything's okay. It's okay, sir. This is Coach.
Ruben and Richard head to a nearby diner.
I gotta go to the bathroom, guys.
Ruben again uses a trip to the bathroom as an excuse to contact the police.
When you're in a situation like that, it's surreal at the time.
What took you so long, man? To the bathroom, brother. The bathroom. Doing all right, man?
And so now what he needs to do is not tip his hand that he's done anything.
Ruben and Richard won't have to wait very long.
We're cruising around town along with every other policeman on duty. Then we get a radio call that 911 has gotten a call from the diner at Pikes Beacon Circle. Bingo.
Dispatch, this is 533. We're en route.
We gotta get there right now.
Sammy, the cops just pulled up, Sam. You gotta turn yourself in.
I'm not going nowhere.
I said, Sammy, the police are here. You've got to go surrender.
Excuse me, ma'am. Somebody called us from inside the diner. Can you happen to know what table place to call?
No, darling, I don't know.
Sammy, listen to me, please.
I said, I don't want to be caught in the crossfire if you get in a shootout with them. And I took my foot and physically pushed him out of the booth. It was just surreal. Sammy was 6'4", and the cop was as big as he was. They looked at each other, dead in the eye.
They're not going to confront him inside this business where there are innocent people. This is a guy running with a gun. You don't get any more dangerous than that. He's running literally for his life. If a perfect stranger gets in his way, I don't know what he might do.
Police, stop now! Stop!
We have two officers in foot pursuit of Sammy Lee on the streets of the city.
Black male, black shirt, running eastbound to the alley. Stop!
Kenda's suspect got a good head start, and years of boxing mean he has the stamina to keep it up.
It's literally the fight or flight instinct. You're gonna run as fast as you can. Sammy was in excellent physical condition. His bad luck was, so was one of the officers.
I've lost sight of him. I got him.
It's a potentially deadly scenario.
He was able to locate the individual hiding in some bushes in the backyard of a residence.
See your hand! See your hand! Come out! Right now! Come out right now!
So he comes out, his hands are in the air, and he's not carrying, he has no gun in his hand.
Hey, don't shoot! Step out here! Don't shoot! I got one at gunpoint.
And as Didi starts to approach him,
Get on the ground!
It went on for a long time.
Sammy climbs the gate and climbs up the side of the building. Where are you going, Sammy? Have you learned how to fly? Up leads nowhere. He loses his balance and falls backwards into the yard. Didi pounces on him, rolls him, and cuffs him.
I said, what did you do with the
gun. Kill me.
Now we have him.
So what'd you do with the gun? You want to talk, Sammy?
No. N.O. Fine. Interrogation is over.
You sure that's how you want to play this? Suit yourself.
Sammy's silent treatment doesn't faze Kenda and Ritz one bit.
He never made a statement of any kind. But we have other people that can make a statement.
Based on the statements Sammy made to boxing coach Richard Wood and bondsman Ruben Caro, Kenda is able to piece together what happened the night of the shooting.
Why you sitting so far away? Maybe you should just sit a little closer.
We have Sammy going over to this townhome to try to contact Pamela. He's going to try to get back with her. And he looks in the window.
What are you doing over here? Sammy told me that she was on the couch with a friend of theirs, and that broke his heart.
You're playing me.
He just thinks that this is the new boyfriend. Oh my God, my worst fear has been realized.
Fueled by jealousy and addled by months of cocaine abuse, Sammy cocked his pistol and began beating on the front door.
Let me see if anyone's at the door. Hold on, okay?
Open his door. What's going on? This what you doing here? This what you got going on here, huh? What you got going on? Kill you! Kill you!
He shoots her, he shoots Freddie.
No!
And then he runs away into the night.
Sammy Denson is convicted of first-degree murder and first-degree assault, and is sentenced to life without parole.
He has to deal with this for the rest of his life. They made it so that he's not going to hurt anybody else, you know?
I remember her daughter testifying, and she was so little. All you could think was that little girl was so brave, and nothing she did was ever really going to make it better, because her mom was gone.
They weren't able to save my mom, but it wasn't in their hands. That's a higher power, you know?
I can't resolve that case. I did resolve it by arresting him. I cannot undo what he did. I cannot give those girls their mother back.
It was horrible. My life was not always this good. I was bad. I think me and my sister, we lived our life looking for answers. Like, why? Why did this happen? Our little girls aren't supposed to lose their mom. Who's going to teach me to be a woman, you know?
Their mother would never see them get married, never see them grow up, never be at their high school graduation. There'd be only an empty chair and a painful memory for them. You can't get any more tragic than that.
A backyard birthday party turns bloody, leaving a young father dead.
Had a young child that he was raising as a single dad.
Now Lieutenant Joe Kenda must penetrate a code of silence.
If he talks to us, he's going to be labeled a snitch.
We're going to take matters into our own hands.
The real issue is revenge. They want blood for blood. We need to resolve this quickly before other people die.
And the peace of God, which transcends all understanding.
But when another young man turns up dead,
This whole thing's a powder keg about to blow.
the heat is on.
Here we go. Here we go. I'm not your friend. I'm the police. And we're going to get to the bottom of this. And when I leave here, I'm going to have somebody's ass in my briefcase. And maybe it's going to be yours. There's one thing that never changes. Murder. A life has been taken. Their stories are now my stories. I never know where a case is going to lead, but I'll never stop until it's solved. Somebody has to look out for the victim. If you kill, I will find you.
On the southwest side of town, 22-year-old Gino Alberico is hosting a party for his girlfriend's birthday.
Happy birthday, baby.
Gino's having a small party, small get-together of friends, and there's quite a few people there. Typical small neighborhood parties that start out with just a few friends. Uninvited guests show up.
As Gino's party gets larger, guests spill onto the porch and out into the front yard.
And all of a sudden,
a commotion, some loud bangs going on in the front yard.
guests are fleeing and he's not quite sure what's going on. And he goes out to the front yard. He sees a body laying there.
No. This guy's not moving. Gino goes to check on him. He touches... Oh,
and thinks, oh no, I need to get fast.
Downtown, Lieutenant Joe Kenda slips back into his office after an evening spent working a case.
I'd missed dinner and I was pretty hungry. I make a PBJ. You can do that in 30 seconds.
It's Kenda.
Dispatch tells Kenda there's been a shooting at 402 Lynn Avenue.
All right, on the way.
Just multiple shots fired at a party, a private home, and there are a number of people injured. One has been shot and is apparently dead.
20 minutes later, Kenda pulls up to a troubled part of town he knows all too well.
This area is known as having a number of barrio gangs within it.
Barrio gangs are neighborhood gangs. People working together to protect what they identify as their turf, their neighborhood.
In the front yard of a modest suburban house, Kenda finds a chaotic and bloody scene.
It is the typical aftermath of a party that goes south. And it's typically at these crime scenes, nobody seems to remember anything.
So what we got?
We got a 22-year-old male victim, Enrique Urrutia.
He was shot in the left cheek, downward angle through the head. He was laying right here in the grass near the deck.
What's his condition?
He was transported to St. Francis. It was pronounced DOA.
Show me where they found him. Absolutely right over here.
An impression in the grass and a pool of blood are all that remain of Enrique Urrutia.
The body was found here. What's this over here?
There was blood on a deck, which also contained what would appear to be possibly brain matter, but Enrique's found in the grass.
Well, that indicates to me somebody moved him.
Alright, so we got a big party. Fight breaks out. Shots are fired. Do we have any weapons? Oh, yeah. This one.
Well, okay, good. Maybe that's our murder weapon. This weapon is often described as an alley sweeper, pointed in a general direction, and you're going to hit somebody.
2 expended shell casings. That's been fired twice.
Kenda needs to know if the shotgun is the murder weapon.
Did you see the victim's wounds before he was transported?
Yes, sir, I did.
How big was the entrance wound?
Maybe a couple centimeters, maybe.
That's handgun, single bullet. If somebody shot him in the face with a 12 gauge, he wouldn't have a face. Shotguns produce pellet damage of a broad area of the body, so this is not the weapon used to kill this victim.
Did you find any casings or slugs?
Lieutenant, we've been searching, but nothing yet.
It's the middle of the night, and the grass hasn't been cut for several weeks, and the grass blades are 4 or 5 inches in length. There could easily be things concealed within that grass that we cannot see.
Looks like it's time for the metal detection unit. I'll call them.
There is a local club of metal detectors. These are private individuals who come together out of a interest in metal detection, who volunteer their services to us to look for metal objects like bullets.
Gentlemen, nice to see you again. Lieutenant, did you guys work your magic?
They see this as a civic duty to offer their services to law enforcement agencies in the area. We accept their offer.
The metal detection enthusiasts fan out across the yard.
Got something here. Where is it?
They find an expended casing near where the victim was found from a .380 pistol. It is a small caliber weapon, more than sufficient to kill you.
It's consistent with the wound that we see on Enrique.
And it appears to be fresh. You can still smell the powder in it.
We got it. 380 auto. Blood processes? I'm going to talk to the homeowner.
With the model of the murder weapon identified, Kenda's next step is to figure out who among the partygoers owns a .380 pistol. For answers, he turns to the man who lives here, Gino Alberigo.
Grab Gino for me.
Hey, Gino.
What's going on tonight, Gino? What are these people doing here?
Well, I was throwing a birthday party for my girlfriend.
And the word went out in the neighborhood, and no one realizes that everybody and his brother was going to show up, but they did. So all of a sudden, this place is mobbed. And before he knew it, everybody was fighting, and then there was some shooting. Is this a Barrio gang party? Don't lie to me. Somebody's going to tell me anyway.
Well, yeah, a lot of my friends are banditos.
The Banditos are a Barrio gang, prevalent in the area.
Do you know the guy that got shot?
No.
Never seen him?
Nope.
You didn't see anything at all?
Not at all.
Kenda suspects Gino knows more than he's letting on.
The code of silence among these Barrio gangs always comes into play. They are distrustful of the police. They are particularly frightened of becoming an informant.
I'm all set.
The word snitch, you don't become a snitch no matter what.
I'm going to take a run to the hospital.
All right.
It's almost like we don't need the police. We're going to take matters into our own hands and go after whomever we need to go after and make sure that we get our revenge for what they did to us.
With no one willing to talk, Kenda heads to the hospital to see if the family of the victim, Enrique Urrutia, might have some answers.
Hey, Lieutenant. This is Peter Cisneros, Enrique's stepfather.
Very sorry for your loss.
Thank you. I can't believe this is happening.
But he's very distressed about the loss of this boy.
He wasn't a bad kid. He didn't deserve this.
Peter tells Kenda Enrique's tragic story.
Enrique Urrutia was a young man just starting his life, had a young child that he was raising as a single dad.
The mother was killed accidentally in another shooting.
So now she has no mother, no father. I don't understand these kids.
And you just feel awful. You feel awful for these people. Life is hard enough, and it just got a lot harder.
Well, I'm sorry to have to ask you this right now. But we want to solve your stepson's murder. Was there anything or anyone in Enrique's life that might have led to this?
Enrique was, probably had been involved in some things that he maybe shouldn't have been. Ran with some people that maybe he shouldn't have. But that doesn't mean that he should have been murdered.
Was Enrique affiliated with a Barrio gang?
Yeah, I guess. He liked the Guaritos.
The Guaritos. If Enrique was a Guarito, what was he doing at a Bandito party?
The Banditos and the Guaritos are two gangs in Colorado Springs with a lot of bad blood between them.
Barrio gangs are not the same as motorcycle outlaw gangs or Bloods and Crips. They look at it as a form of self-protection, that they are each other's brother. And they are determined to retain that brotherhood and blood connection, no matter what. You have a Guarito showing up at the wrong party. Why would he come here? There has to be a reason. I need to know what the reason is.
Okay. Again, I'm very sorry for your loss.
Thank you.
Kenda wants to know how the Guaritos will react when they learn one of their own was killed at a Banditos get-together.
The real issue with death avenges another death, and on and on. And this could spin out of control where we have an actual war going on.
The pressure is on for Kenda to find Enrique's killer, and find him fast.
We need to resolve this quickly. We need to find out who shot this kid and get him in custody before other people die.
But it may already be too late.
Go for Kenda.
You've been requested at a shooting at 83 in Hartford.
Another Hispanic male has been shot, and he's a member of the Juaritos, and he's dead.
10-4, tell him on the way.
And I'm thinking, here we go. Here we go. So we're investigating the murder of a 22-year-old man, Enrique Urrutia, who is a Barrio gang member. And now we've just been informed that there's another death involving another member of the same gang. The question now is obvious. Do we have a war underway?
How you doing? So what do we got?
Well, we got one victim. He was transported to Memorial Hospital. These two were in the car with him.
So what's the victim's prognosis?
He's DOA.
The victim is identified as Rodolfo Urrutia, Enrique's cousin.
Is that the gun?
Yes, sir. It's found in the back seat by the paramedics.
There is a pistol on the roof.
Did you find any connection to Enrique's murder yet?
It's unclear at this point. These two were riding around with him. They said they were looking for the killer.
And now this kid is dead. Could it be retaliation? Of course. Could it be a second event? Of course. We don't know what it is.
Is this something where this particular family has been targeted? Or is it a wider situation that involves many more people?
Kenda starts with the inside of the vehicle.
Head wounds bleed horribly, so there's a lot of blood everywhere. The high-velocity blood spatter on the headliner of the car and the back window indicates clearly this person was in the backseat of this car when he was shot.
Who's in the car with him?
This guy over here, his girlfriend. His name is Tony Garcia.
Tony is the semi-leader of the Juaritos. He is a respected member of this group. Tony is a creator of nightmare scenarios. He's always in the middle of something. If there's a fight, Tony starts it. If there's a gun used, Tony pulls it. Tony is always trouble.
You want to talk to the girlfriend? I'll talk to Tony. Tony.
Man, Rodolfo was pissed about Enrique. So he had his gun out thinking we were going to find the guy who did it. And he just kept messing around.
Rodolfo is in the back seat, and he's got a gun. A .380 auto pistol, which is the same caliber we found an expended casing of at the Enrique crime scene, but they're common guns, and so that's not that startling. And he's playing with a gun.
I'll just put this dome up to him.
Rodolfo's drinking, raising hell about he's going to kill a bandito, he doesn't care which one. And he's jacking around with this gun and pulling the magazine out and pulling the live round out of the chamber and putting it to his head.
Yeah, it's easy, dog. What if I just did it like this, dog?
And lo and behold, it wasn't empty.
So you're saying he shot himself by accident?
Yeah, man, I can't believe it.
All right, stay right here.
Kenda isn't entirely convinced that Tony is telling the truth. So he checks in on the driver of the car, Tony's girlfriend Marisol.
He thought the gun was empty.
Excuse me for a second. So what you saying?
Basically, it's just a big accident. You know, he pulls out the gun, thinks it's empty, puts it to his head, pulls the trigger.
I'm going to talk to Tony a bit.
Tony and Marisol's stories are consistent and match the physical evidence inside the vehicle. For now, Kenda's willing to let them go. But first, he wants to find out what Tony knows about Enrique.
Just tell me what happened at the party where Enrique got killed.
I wasn't at no party. I don't know nothing about that.
When we first questioned Tony, he's not even sure he was in Colorado when this party took place.
Then, Tony offers up something no one else has.
But I do know what everybody's saying.
What'd you hear?
Nick Quintana shot Enrique.
Based on the fact that we had a lot of code of silence issues with this investigation, once we get somebody at least providing a name, it does kind of focus our investigation on that name.
Nick Quintana.
Yeah, he knows we're looking for him.
If Nick knows he's being looked for by the street gang,
Take him.
What forces is he gathering to protect himself with?
Yeah, this whole thing's a powder keg about to blow. We need you to wrap up this scene. I gotta find this Nick.
Then this is how wars begin, where it becomes one side versus another. It's not me and you anymore, it's us versus them. So I need resolution of this to prevent further death, and I'm going to take Tony's word right now. Nick Quintana is my man that I want to talk to right now. Now we have two members of the Warritos that are dead. We finally have somebody named as the person
has informed Kenda that word on the street is that a man named Nick Quintana is responsible for killing Enrique, and that the Warritos are hell-bent on exacting revenge.
We've got to get to Nick and put a stop to this before we have even more people dead.
Luckily, this isn't Kenda's first dealing with the Quintana family.
So, who's Nick Quintana? Well, he's got a brother named Lenny, who is associated with other crimes I've investigated.
A few years earlier, Lenny Quintana was a witness to a shooting Kenda. His cooperation helped crack the case.
There. That's him right there.
So we find Lenny first, because he's easy to be found.
Hey, Lenny. You been staying out of trouble?
Of course.
How about your brother?
Yeah, I'm worried about him.
Lenny explains to Kenda he's been hearing rumors about Nick's alleged involvement in Enrique Urrutia's murder.
It's all around here. The Warritos think that he killed that guy, but he didn't do it.
How do you know that?
He was with his girlfriend all night. There's no way he could have done that.
Nick wasn't even at that party. He didn't even go there.
Where's Nick now?
I don't know. None of us can find him.
He's in hiding because he thinks they're going to kill him. They've told him they're going to kill him. They've told anybody that listens to him they're going to kill him.
Lenny, if you care about your brother, you've got to have him get in touch with me.
Because I've got to put a stop to this behavior. Somebody is going to shoot Nick, whether he did this kid or not. Because that's the word in the street. So get to him through your mother, through whoever you have to, and let me talk to him.
Please, Lenny. Tell him I stopped by.
Later that afternoon, Kenda gets a page from an unknown number.
This is Kenda.
It's Quintana. He is still in hiding, but Kenda convinces Nick to meet him at a safe location. 20 minutes later, Kenda arrives at the rendezvous point and finds a man clearly on edge.
Nick? Yeah, Lieutenant Kenda.
He explains he didn't do this.
And why is everyone saying that you're the killer?
And later that night, I got a call about what happened at Gino's. So, went over there to check it out.
Nick claims while he was there, the local news started filming him.
Next thing I know, word on the street is I was at the party, or that I snuck in and killed somebody. It's crazy.
The fact that he's there in news footage doesn't mean he was there at the party, because they always show up an hour later.
Nick's story is plausible, but Kenda's not in the business of taking people at their word.
Alright. Let me get the names of your girlfriend and everyone you were with that night.
Yeah, not a problem.
They better not say you were at the party.
We round up the girl. Girl says Quintana's not the guy. And other people confirm that Nick is a different location. Nick Quintana didn't shoot anybody. So now we're back to square one.
What's more, it turns out Nick and Lenny Quintana aren't even part of a barrio gang. Kenda heads back to the station group, but it's not long before the lead he's been waiting for comes rolling in.
Hey, Lieutenant. What's up?
There's an Alex Garcia here to see you. Says he's got some information on the Uri case.
You can send him in.
Alex Garcia is a young male who was brought down to the police station by his father.
I understand you have some information on Enrique's murder.
Yes, I was at the party that night.
Can you tell me what happened?
Well, everything was going fine.
Okay.
I don't know how it started, but all of a sudden a fight broke out. The next thing I know, Enrique's dead.
Initially, Alex's story doesn't provide Kenda with any new information, but then he drops a bombshell.
Everybody get the f*** out of here!
He also talks about another individual who's waving around a gun. He tells us it's Tony Garcia.
Tony Garcia?
Yes, sir.
You're saying you saw Tony Garcia at this party?
That's right.
With a gun?
Yes, sir.
I wasn't at a party. I don't know nothing about that.
Tony is the guy who is saying he wasn't at the party at all. Then he wants to give me Nick Quintana as the guy who killed Enrique.
Also, he was observed with a weapon. We know weapons are discharged.
Thank you. Officer?
Yes, sir.
I appreciate you coming in. You did the right thing. Okay, when you get Tony back in here.
Yes, sir. Tony's lying through his teeth. It's time to talk to Tony. We are investigating the murder of Enrique Urrutia during a flare-up between barrio gangs. If we don't resolve this quickly, there's going to be a gang war and there will be blood.
One of the leaders of the Warridos, Tony Garcia, told Kenda he wasn't at the party where the shooting took place. But when a bystander at the party states Tony was there too, and was brandishing a firearm, Kenda has Tony hauled back downtown for additional questioning.
So we drag Tony downtown. Now Tony thinks he's clever and thinks he's street smart. He's neither one.
What the hell am I here for, man? Cut the crap, Tony. You know why you're here.
He's got himself in the glue, and I've explained that to him in great detail.
Everything you've told me so far is a lie.
And if you're going to start telling me some truth here, I'll figure out a way to charge you with Enrique's death.
I told you I wasn't there. We've got people to put you there. Put you there with a gun.
Look, Tony, you're at the party. You're part of this. You're the leader of the Warritos. You're at a Bandito party. Isn't that right?
All right, man. I was there, but I didn't do nothing to nobody. Okay, but you and Enrique are Warritos. Why were you there?
We didn't come there to hurt nobody. We just came there to make a statement.
A statement? About what?
Tony explains to Kenda that even though it was a Bandito party, it was taking place on Warrido turf.
What you folks doing here? What doing in our neighborhood?
So what you're saying is the whole reason you were there? It's because someone threw a party in your part of town?
We had to show him. We had to.
Kenda believes this turf war is the spark that ignited the fight. But he still needs to find out if Tony somehow killed his fellow Warrido.
What kind of gun did you bring to the party?
My shotgun.
Okay, so the shotgun we find is yours, yeah. So what'd you do?
Everybody was fighting. Everything was getting crazy. And I wanted to break it up.
I shot it in the air just to stop everything and make everybody back off.
So what'd you do?
He said it was a piece of junk anyway. He's right about that.
Tony's version of events seems to gel with the evidence.
It matches the known facts. The confrontation takes place. He thinks it's getting out of hand. That he fires the shotgun twice. He fires it in the air. There's no damage and no injury from the shotgun blast. He's telling me the truth.
Enrique was killed with a .380 caliber weapon, not a shotgun.
So, Tony is out as a shooter. So who is it? I don't know.
All right, Tony. You're free to go. For now.
Hoping to dig up new leads, Kenda instructs his detectives to stake out Enrique's funeral.
But they're not here for the service.
Sometimes a perpetrator will attend a funeral because ultimately they're kind of sorry about it.
And the peace of God, which transcends all understanding.
They want to maybe say they're sorry to the family for the loss they've suffered. That may sound bizarre, but it happened. So we're there.
In the name of the Father.
We're hopeful that this is going to get us something.
Amen.
In the meantime, detectives approach Enrique Urrutia's stepfather after the funeral, hoping he might have a new lead for them.
A lot of times we do get some good contacts that come out of this. When people are emotional, they're fed up with the death. They sometimes are more willing to talk to us.
Mr. Stenhouse, very sorry for your loss. We're still trying to find out who did this to Enrique. I was wondering, since we spoke at the hospital, have you heard anything that might lead us in the right direction?
Actually, yes. I heard about this guy. He was there. And supposedly he knows who shot Enrique. I think you should talk to him.
Do you know his name?
Roberto Dominguez.
Weirdos, he's a kid. He's 18, 19 years old. He's not affiliated with the Barrio gang. He was 5 feet away from Enrique. He reached out and touched him. He doesn't want to break the code of silence, but yet he's also conflicted about what to do about this.
Do you know where we might be able to find Roberto?
Yes.
Writing it down for us?
Mr. Cisneros is able to provide us information of how to contact Mr. Dominguez, and we use that to bring him into the police station for the purpose of an interview.
When Roberto Dominguez arrives at the station, he's visibly nervous.
Lieutenant, Roberto.
Thanks for coming in. Have a seat. Can you tell me what you saw at the party on Wynn Avenue?
I don't know, man.
Roberto is very concerned about his own personal safety. He knows that if he talks to us, he's going to be labeled a snitch. You'll probably have a greater danger of being seriously injured or killed because you're a snitch.
Now, you have to be careful with him at this point. I don't want to confront him. I don't want to frighten him. I want him to cooperate with me.
Roberto, people tell me you know things. And I think you do. If you do and don't tell me, you know other people are going to get killed.
Because they want blood for blood. And the other thing that could stop it is you and me. You and me have the power to put an end to this nightmare.
You have to trust me. Show me I can end this.
He starts to cry. I'm getting to him. He's not a street criminal. He's not a bad guy. And I tell him that.
Don't you want to save some lives?
I'm looking at this kid and I know I'm reaching him, and that's what I want to do.
Did you see who killed Enrique? Do you have a name?
He doesn't want to say the name, and there's different tactics that we can use. Sometimes it's photographs, sometimes having to write it down.
Roberto, maybe you write it down for us. A little bit easier.
Go ahead, Roberto.
And he starts to write. Oh, my. After all of this, here we are. After all of this work, all of this wheel spinning, all of the threats and accusations and dead kids, we're finally down to somebody that truly knows who killed Enrique.
Roberto, you know us. You know we'll make sure that you and your family are safe.
Kenda convinces Roberto to write the name of Enrique's killer on a piece of paper.
He writes the name Peanut, a moniker, a nickname, a street name.
Who's this?
It's very common, used by many people. Peanut.
That's what did it.
Do you know his real name?
I just know him by Peanut.
I'll check the moniker database, see if I can find something.
Detective Ritz discovers that Peanut.
But to ensure that we're talking about the same Peanut, we have to show this picture to Roberto. A photo lineup's made.
Do you see Peanut here?
When Roberto looks at this photo lineup, he reluctantly points to one individual. That individual is Joel Padilla. He confirms that he is the person who did the shooting.
Once Roberto successfully identifies Joel Padilla, the floodgates open, and he tells Kenda everything he saw.
Do you want to tell me what happened?
We're just hanging out, man.
Roberto is partying with Peanut on the front porch. They're talking, having a few drinks. When all of a sudden the Warritos arrive, and Enrique and others advance toward them. Enrique and the Warritos go there to break up this party because it's a party on their turf, not a party given by them and their people. Enrique throws a beer bottle at Joel, and it misses him, but it smashes into the house right next to him.
Enrique gets in his face, you know what I'm saying, telling us we're in his body, or we need to get out. And everybody just started fighting.
What's going on? What's going on, man?
Everybody's rolling around, everybody's punching everybody else.
Everybody get the f*** out!
And that's when Tony starts waving around the shotgun while this fight's going on.
But Enrique and Peanut, they were still fighting on the porch.
The two are struggling and in close contact. And at that point, Roberto says he hears a gunshot.
He shot him. Enrique fell on top of Peanut.
So why did Peanut go for a gun? Was he afraid? Was he afraid because he felt he was losing the fight? That's one possibility. Maybe he's just angry. Maybe he's just mad. Maybe he's tired of this. Maybe he's decided to take revenge right then and there.
And everybody scatters. And the only one that's left is Enrique, laying on the ground, dying.
Where can we find Peanut right now?
I have no idea.
No one seems to know where Joel Padilla is, but now we know who we're chasing. And we begin to narrow the search pattern until we have a pretty good idea where he is. It's an apartment complex on the east side.
Kenda believes Joel is living in an apartment in Nob Hill and orders his men to begin round-the-clock surveillance.
There he is. He's right there. Hold on.
As they're approaching the apartment complex, Padilla knows it's the police, and he takes off running. He is tackled by the police.
You're coming with us, buddy. Joel Padilla, you're under arrest for the murder of Enrique Arruti.
He comes into the interrogation room. He is frightened. This is a very serious matter. This is death.
Joe, we know that you killed Enrique Arrutia at a party over on Lynn Avenue. You want to tell me about that?
You can be a big man and be machismo and all of this when you have a weapon and maybe you're in a fist fight or something like that. But when you're sitting in the police station and they're giving you all of the evidence that they have that you're the murderer, it's sort of hard to have that persona of being, okay, I'm invincible.
He starts to cry, and that's usually a good sign. If they start to cry, they are collapsing emotionally and are prepared to rid themselves of their guilt, usually.
But for Joel Padilla, that's not the case.
I didn't do... Are you a member of a gang?
I want to talk to a lawyer. Now.
All right.
So we don't get a statement. But after all of that work, all of that effort, we did what we set out to do. We stopped further bloodshed. We got to the truth. We got to the right guy.
Joel is charged with first-degree murder, but he's able to make a plea bargain with the district attorney.
Joel pleads guilty to manslaughter and is sentenced to 12 years in prison. And though this seemingly insignificant affair,
we have 2 tragic deaths over what would be considered minimal reason. Somebody giving a party in the barrio of another barrio gang.
Gangs offer a kid everything kids want. Love, acceptance, discipline, a sense of purpose, a sense of identity, a sense of belonging, all the things that people desire. And if you're not in a gang, or have never been in one, you have no idea that this is more important than anything. The gang is everything. The gang is your world. And you must protect it at all costs.
The corpse of a beloved grandfather is discovered in a pile of debris.
It was apparent the body had been there several days.
Multiple stab wounds indicate a level of rage.
His whole checking account was emptied.
To catch a killer, detectives must follow a convoluted trail of clues.
We are faced with the ultimate mystery.
And just when the case seems to be going cold, investigators make a game-changing discovery.
We found this. He had a violent criminal history.
You never know who you're dealing with.
It is always a series of events that seem to be disconnected and become very connected indeed. All these things come together to paint a picture of the truth. There's one thing that never changes: murder. A life has been taken. Their stories are now my stories. I never know where a case is going to lead, but I'll never stop until it's solved. Somebody has to look out for the victim. If you kill, I will find you.
There's a guy named Lewis Wright, and kind of a large field area where people use it to dump a lot of trash, appliances and things like this. And Mr. Wright likes to stop there to see if there's anything he can find that maybe he can resell, pick up a couple extra bucks.
He's out walking around the field and he's thinking, something smells kind of funny.
He thought there's a dead animal around here somewhere. And as he continued to look around, he saw what he thought was a mannequin that somebody may have thrown away under a bunch of branches. Oh, God! He knew right away that this is no mannequin. This is a dead body.
Not far away, Joe Kenda is finally able to think about something other than work.
I was heading back to my office in my car, and I realized I hadn't eaten that day, so I stopped and picked something up real quick. Luckily, I had just enough time to finish my lunch.
Dispatch to Kenda.
When the radio called...
Go for Kenda.
Danny, you've been requested to respond to a reported body found near Fontaine and Mark Shuffle Road.
This area borders the line between the city of Colorado Springs and unincorporated El Paso County.
10-4 on the way. Kenda out.
So there's a potential jurisdiction issue. If the body is in El Paso County, then it becomes the investigation of the El Paso County Sheriff's Department. If the body is discovered within the city limits, obviously it becomes ours. Because of the location being in question, both agencies are on the scene until jurisdiction can be determined.
Hey, Joe.
Hey, Steve, how you been?
Murder business.
Yeah, unfortunately, business has been good, huh?
This brings us to the point.
One of the detectives who wound up with this case was Steve Gensel. Gensel had been in the Sheriff's Department a long time. I knew him well. Thought he was an excellent detective.
Gotta warn you, it smells pretty bad over here.
Through my career, I worked closely with Colorado Springs Police Department and with Joe Kenda. Everybody works together in getting that person before a jury and getting a conviction.
That is bad.
When a human body is left outdoors in intense sunlight and intense heat, the decomposition becomes very, very quick. And you have the odor of death coming from this body.
Hey, sir, the person who found the body said that it was partially covered in his branches. He removed some of it before he realized it was a human. Another unusual thing, as you can see, he's only dressed in socks and boxer shorts.
Whoever is responsible for this apparently believed that by removing his clothing and taking away his wallet, he would never be identified.
Somebody definitely him dead.
Yes, sir. We got at least a dozen stab wounds on him.
Multiple stab wounds indicate a level of rage that the victim knows his killer and vice versa. The crime scene is indicative of this being a dump site. The attack took place at another location that is currently unknown, and then the body is dumped.
Any witnesses?
No, sir, none yet. We're still scouring the area trying to find somebody.
It's the ultimate mystery. Where did this crime occur? And most importantly, who is the victim?
So of this body, it falls within our jurisdiction.
It was determined that the El Paso County Sheriff's Department are the lead people on that case.
Okay, so what can we do?
I'd like to ID this gentleman. Can you check your missing persons reports and see if you get a match?
Absolutely. Touch base with you later.
Thanks, Jeff.
When you discover just the body, there's multiple facets within the investigation that need to be addressed immediately. One, identification of who the person is, and two, where the murder occurred at.
The most obvious choice is a missing persons report. This person isn't where they're supposed to be. Does somebody know that, and did they report it to the police?
While Kenda heads back to the station to scour missing persons reports, sheriff's deputies catch wind of a new lead.
Detective, there's an individual over here by the name of Scott Allen. Might have some information about the case he'd like to speak with. Mr. Allen, this is the detective I was telling you about.
Understand you got something for me?
I was heading home from work the other night, and I saw a red truck with its headlights beaming into the darkness.
The only witness to this event was a construction worker named Scott Allen, who tells the detectives that he saw a red truck with the headlights on, parked on the side of the road in the exact spot where these officers are.
Did you get a license plate or anything?
No, sorry, I didn't. Look, maybe it was nothing, but since I saw you guys out here, I thought I should mention it.
I appreciate your time. Thank you.
Mr. Allen didn't have very much information.
We need a lot more than that.
But they made a note about a red truck seen in the area, which at the moment is insignificant, but may become significant later in the investigation.
The El Paso Sheriff's Department is asking for the public's help this evening.
A local man scouring the area for spare parts found more than he bargained for when he ran into human remains this morning.
Back in the day, the only way to get news out to the public was to have it be broadcast on a newscast.
Law enforcement is asking that any information be reported to police tip lines and non-emergency numbers.
Back at CSPD headquarters, Kenda and his team pore through a stack of recent missing persons reports.
So how's it going?
Instead, we finish up this first set of reports and we can't find. There's no matches yet.
All right, let's keep looking.
Yes, sir. Thank you.
This occurred in 1989. You don't snap your fingers and consult your massive computer files on your portable devices. You start paging through missing persons reports, which are kept in a file.
Genzel.
Yeah, Steve, it's Kenda. Yeah, I'm just not seeing anything in here that matches up with your guy. All right.
I'm headed to the morning. I'll keep you posted.
I appreciate it. Thanks.
Bye. So what do we got, Doc?
Well, I've counted 13 stab wounds. The body's in early stages of decomposition, so I would estimate he's been deceased roughly 72 hours.
No, that offers investigators a timeline to find where this person was last alive.
We located one more thing that you might find helpful. A set of dentures. You see the writing there? I believe that's his name.
No kidding. Cast on the side of the denture plate itself, written underneath the clear coating, was COOK.
Thanks, Doc. You just made my week.
Good luck.
Now we have the last name of our victim. This is Mr. Cook. Who made Mr. Cook look like this? Found remains determined to be in El Paso County, resulting in the El Paso County Sheriff's Department to become the lead investigators in what is obviously a homicide. We discover a victim has been stabbed 13 times in the chest and has been dead for 3 days. We're now at the point where the dentures indicate a last name on this victim of Cook.
But it's a local news segment that delivers investigators their next big lead.
Christina Green. I'm Detective Gansel.
Nice to meet you.
Christina reports that she watched the evening news about this body that had been found and has a bad feeling that this could be her father, who she hasn't seen or heard from for a few days.
What is your father's name?
John Cook.
Knowing that the denture plate had the name Cook, there was a higher degree of probability that the body we had was in fact that John Cook.
Was it my dad?
Look, we haven't confirmed it yet. But I'm afraid there is a strong possibility that it is your father.
Oh, God.
I'm sorry.
Dad was a retired contractor. When he retired, he was constantly fixing something for somebody. And he was very jovial, lighthearted, happy.
John Cook was my grandfather. We spent a lot of time together. We built a clubhouse in my backyard, which still stands today. I remember him teaching me a little bit about carpentry, a lot about hard work. The man worked every day.
When was the last time you saw your father?
A few days ago. Dad was going to someone's house that he knew to fix the roof, and I did not know where that was. He was supposed to call me back that evening, and never did.
She described her father as last seen wearing Wrangler jeans.
When he didn't get back with me, I went by his house the next day, and he wasn't there, and neither was his red truck.
He drove a red truck.
Construction worker Scott Allen saw parked at the crime scene.
You wouldn't happen to know the plate number for that truck, would you?
Yeah, I wrote it down. I thought it might help with the search.
Christina provides that to Genzel.
Thank you very much.
And Genzel issues a statewide alert that this is the truck that belonged to the victim in this homicide, and that truck is missing.
Within hours, a CSPD officer spots a vehicle that matches the description.
By the afternoon, the patrol officer on routine patrol finds a red truck with the correct plate. So he contacts the apartment building manager.
Do you know whose truck this is?
No, it's been there for a couple of days, though.
Okay, thank you, sir. 159 dispatch, I've located that truck.
I called Genzel and I said, hey, we have your truck. Give me the address. The officer agrees to wait to meet them. Sheriff's detectives, including Genzel, respond to that location and recover that truck for evidentiary value.
The cab of the truck is littered with debris.
Detective Genzel.
But one small piece of paper stands out.
Inside of the vehicle was a receipt from a local store where some roofing materials had been purchased.
It's dated 3 days before we found the body, and it says he was there at 9:57 a.m. Guess we can assume he's still alive at that point. Take it for me, will you?
The next question becomes, did he make it from the purchase of the materials to the actual job site? Or was he interrupted in between?
That same afternoon, Detective Genzel arranges for a search of John Cook's home, assisted by Cook's daughter, Christina.
Just to warn you, the house is probably a bit of a mess.
The Sheriff's Department wants to see if evidence can be obtained from the house that may lead them to the identification of a suspect.
If you don't mind, I'd like the officers to go in first, just to make sure everything's clear.
Clear.
Okay, come on in. Thank you.
John Cook's house, you could tell that he lived alone, kind of a bachelor type place. There was still a piece of cake on his table, indicating that he didn't plan.
But pretty organized with the paperwork. This is his records book. He keeps all his clients' information in here.
He would keep daily diaries of the different kinds of jobs that he would have.
There's nothing here listed from the day he disappeared.
I'm looking for his checkbook.
It's not there?
No. He always keeps it right here.
Since I was in banking, he always banked with me, and so I was familiar with his banking habits and what he did and why.
Okay, we're going to need to check those accounts. I'd like you to go to the bank with Deputy O'Hara here and make sure that there's no unusual activity. Do you have credit cards?
He has a few, but he hardly ever uses them.
Take credit cards too.
Okay. When we have a victim who's been murdered, you would look to why was this person killed? So they would have to look into banks' credit cards to see if there was a robbery or something that would cause someone to kill another person for financial gains.
A short time later, as Genzel is concluding the search,
It's empty!
Christina returns with some startling news.
What's empty?
His bank account. Somebody drained his account.
Her father's checking account was emptied for the amount of $350. All he had in the world was $350.
We even had the bank pull his credit card statements. Apparently somebody's been making a lot of purchases within the last few days. Criminals are well aware that missing credit cards are reported immediately. They therefore make purchases before the card is closed off.
There have been purchases at electronics store and places he would never shop. Someone is using my dad's card.
Guess we got our suspect number one.
Mm-hmm. Across town at the CSPD.
Hey, Lieutenant.
Hey.
Kenda's men are making inroads of their own.
We got an anonymous tip. Okay. He didn't say much, but he did leave a name.
Okay, who's the name?
He says the name of the person who killed John Cook.
Really?
Well, my. Who might that be? We're assisting the El Paso County Sheriff's Department in the investigation of the murder of John Cook when our intelligence division receives an anonymous tip saying that they know the name of the suspect in this case.
He left the name of Carlos Torres.
Do you see anything else?
Just that Mr. Torres is very dangerous.
Okay, go ahead and run the name.
Yes, sir.
We do a little research on Carlos Torres, and he does live in the area, and he is on probation for credit card fraud.
Okay, we
got a viable suspect.
Ansel.
Yes, Kenda. So listen, we had someone call in a tip about the Cook murder.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah, we looked into it. It looks like it's got some promise.
That's great news.
Kenda made contact and he said Carlos Torres may be involved with the use of credit cards. So with that information, we made contact with his probation officer.
Well, Carlos got himself into some trouble by stealing his roommate's credit card and going on a little shopping spree. From what I could tell, he's been on the straight and narrow. He's made all his meetings and followed all the court orders.
The probation officer says that Torres has done what he's supposed to do. He's reported in on every occasion. He is following the rules as far as anybody knows.
Do you have the name of the roommate he was stealing from?
Kane Avert.
Avert, I know that name.
Genzel recalls that he saw the name Albaran in John Cook's workbook. It's not a particularly common name, so Genzel is hopeful that this has a connection. Suddenly, Mr. Torres becomes even more interesting.
You have the contact information for Avert? I'd like to talk to him about Torres.
Sure, it's in this file. I made a copy of it for you so you can take the whole thing. And here's a picture of Carlos's mugshot.
That's great. Thanks.
Welcome.
Dispatch, can you reach out to a Kane Albaran for an interview?
This matter has to be closed. Torres is either involved in this case or he is. So detectives talk to Mr. Albaran.
So what do you want to know about Carlos?
We understand he was using your credit cards without permission?
Yeah, we were living together, and I started to see all these random charges pop up on my card. Then I noticed Carlos seemed to have a whole wardrobe. Where'd you get those Jordans, Carlos?
Man, what are you talking about?
Those things aren't cheap, right?
Yeah, so whatever, I got money.
Since when? You're 2 months behind on paying your share of the bills around here. So we started to get into it, and I just flat out asked him if he had been using my card.
An argument ensued. Kane called the police, and during that conversation, Torres admitted to the fraud.
Why are you asking about Carlos? Did he do it again?
No, we're not sure. Might be a lot more serious than credit card fraud. You know John Cook?
He says he did employ Mr. Cook a couple of times for some repair work on his apartment, and he hadn't seen him for some time.
What about Carlos? Did he know Mr. Cook?
No. I don't think Carlos was around when John was working on the apartment.
He felt fairly certain that Torres and John Cook never knew each other, and there'd be no connection for him to be tied to the John Cook homicide case.
Even if he knew John Cook, he's not a killer. And I lived with him. There's no way.
Genzel and his team are beginning to have their doubts that Carlos Torres is their man. To rule him out completely,
hello.
Hi.
They take up a new strategy.
I'm Detective Genzel, El Paso Sheriff's Department. Mind if I ask you a few questions?
Speaks to a female clerk who was working on the day that a fraudulent purchase was made on John Cook's credit card.
I don't know, sir. I see a lot of customers every day. But we catalog our receipts. Want me to take a look?
Would you please?
At that point, 1989, they didn't have the same electronic receipts that they do now. But the clerk was able to pull out a box from underneath the counter where the other receipts were at.
Looks like you bought a VCR.
And pulled out the receipt for the transaction with the name of John Cook on the signature line.
Did you see his ID to see if it matched the credit card?
No, sir. I guess I didn't. Please don't tell my boss, okay? But listen, I think I remember him. He was acting kind of strange and creeped me out a little.
Why would this particular person stand out? It's because you kind of get that weird vibe from people sometimes, that maybe something about them just isn't right.
I didn't want to blow the sale and lose my commission, so I didn't give him a hard time.
Do you think you remember what he looked like?
Yeah, I think he was Latino.
She was able to describe the person as being Hispanic male, 30s, dark hair, and having a mustache. And this was not the physical attributes of John Cook.
What about this guy? You recognize him?
Nope, never seen him before.
Ultimately, Carlos Torres was eliminated. There was nothing that could link him whatsoever to John Cook's credit cards.
It appears the anonymous tip that once seemed so promising has turned out to be a dead end. But if Carlos Torres didn't kill John Cook, then who did? To help answer that question, Detective Genzel asks the store clerk for one more favor.
Would you mind coming back to the sheriff's station and describing the man who made the purchase to one of our sketch artists?
Sure, I guess. I get off in about an hour.
Thank you. I'm going to hang on to this.
It is always useful to make a composite sketch of someone in the event that someone can identify that composite drawing as a particular individual.
Later that day, the completed sketch is distributed throughout the city. In the meantime, investigators decide to circle back to the crime scene.
I got with Detective Mitchell and another detective, and said could you go back to the crime scene and search if we can find anything else, anything that may help the investigation.
You finding anything?
Nah, bunch of damn junk. What about you?
No. Let's keep looking.
All right.
They go through all the shrub, all the dirt, trying to find something that would link to the victim.
After several hours of searching, nothing to show for it, investigators are about to lose hope when something unexpected catches their eye.
Mitchell sees a car driving by very slowly.
What the hell is he doing here?
Who's that?
He'd just been arrested and lost his driver's license and shouldn't be driving. And then he lived way on the other side of town. So it raised his suspicions with him.
Come on, let's get out of here. I want to check something out.
He left the scene not finding anything, but always had it in the back of his mind that, what was Frank Arona doing out there at that scene, driving by there?
Later that day, Kenda is checking up on his other cases.
Lieutenant, I ran multiple searches and nothing's come up yet on those monitors.
All right, let's try a few different spellings before moving on.
Okay.
Excuse me.
We get a call from CSPD Pond Detail that they have something really good in that SO case involving Mr. Cook.
What's going on?
The police department has a division that works with local pawn shops. It's a way to discover things that have been pawned by criminals.
Lieutenant Kenda, I've got Detective Mitchell from El Paso Sheriff's Department down here. You're not going to believe this.
Well, try me. I might believe it. We're assisting the County Sheriff's Department in their investigation of the John Cook homicide, and our pawn shop detail has come across something of great interest in regard to their case.
Gentlemen, so what have you got so far?
Detective Mitchell here had a hunch. He checked the pawn division's records. Looks like it paid off.
Really?
Yeah, your pawn detail says that somebody pawned a VCR that was purchased using one of John Cook's credit cards.
The receipt from the pawn shop shows that the VCR serial number on the pawn ticket is identical to the serial number of the device purchased that same day using John Cook's stolen credit card.
Was there any name on the pawn receipt? Any contact info for Bond for Dead?
Yeah, this guy Frank Arona.
I just happened to see him out at our crime scene yesterday doing a slow drive-by. Thought it was strange, so we checked the records for his name. Happened to get lucky.
Seeing Frank Arona near the crime scene and the positive identification of the pawn slips showing his identification, that then created a link between Frank Arona and at least him using the credit cards of John Cook.
Take a look at this.
Mitchell has the composite sketch of the individual who purchased the VCR, and he believes it has a close resemblance to Frank Arona.
Wow, looks just like him. Great work, Mitchell.
I've got some of the other store clerks where purchases were made come in and see if they can ID Frank Arona from a photo lineup.
Okay, yeah. So what do you need from us?
Let me check the CSPD file, see if there's anything else we need to know about Arona.
Okay, we'll let you know as soon as we find something.
Nice work.
Thank you.
Frank Arona's long history on the wrong side of the law.
I pull a criminal history jacket for Mr. Frank Arona, and Mr. Arona has an extensive criminal record. Among charges listed was a kidnapping and robbery of a grocery store employee, to which he pled no contest and received 5 years probation. More recently, 1 week before John Cook's murder, he was arrested again for DUI. And he posted bond, but he didn't have any other money he could use to get his personal car out of the police impound lot.
Can I help you?
Yeah, I'm looking for a vehicle that was impounded within the last week or so. It's registered to a Frank Arona.
Let me see what I can do.
I want to know if the vehicle is still there, because if it's not, he somehow came up with the money to get his car back.
Nope. That car was picked up by its owner.
Frank Arona?
One in the same. Looks like he paid his fee in cash, and that was on September the 26th.
I appreciate it. Thank you, sir.
The investigators revealed that the day he paid that bill was the same day that John Cook's bank account was emptied out. Pretty good lead right there.
sheriff's office.
It's just here on the right.
Detective Gansel attempts to lock down the identity of his suspect.
You recognize any of these guys?
Through a photo lineup.
Gansel uses the mugshot from our records file to make a photo lineup.
That's him. That's the guy from last week.
You're sure that's him?
I only get a few dozen customers a day, and I have a great memory.
That's great news. Thank you.
Arona is being positively identified by many clerks. There is now sufficient probable cause to believe that Mr. Arona is involved in this case. A search warrant is obtained to search Mr. Arona's home.
Seeker, cover the back in case he rabbits.
You ready?
Hit it.
Frank Arona, open the door. Sheriff's Department, come out with your hands up.
Hit it again.
Frank Arona, open the door.
You guys are a little overly dramatic, aren't you?
Step aside. We have a warrant to search your premises.
Alright.
We went inside the residence to conduct the search, and various other investigators went to speak with the neighbors about anything they may know about Frank Arona.
Inside the home, Gansel informs Arona why they're there.
You're not under arrest at this time, but we have reason to believe that you've committed credit card fraud.
Arona says he's confused. Why would they want to search his place for anything? But he sits down while they search.
And he's pretty nonchalant about it, sitting there drinking beer, watching television while they're searching the house.
While the officers move from room to room, Detective Gansel seizes the opportunity to question Arona.
Well, I got you here. I'd like to talk to you about the murder of John Cook.
I got nothing to say to you or anybody else.
He looked at me and said, I don't want to say anything. I want to talk with an attorney. Well, people certainly have a right to invoke their right to remain silent.
Detective Gansel, I think you should come next door. It's important. Mitchell. Keep an eye on this guy. I'll be back in a minute.
It was relayed to me that the neighbors knew something that would help the investigation.
I understand you folks have something to tell me?
Yes, it's about our neighbor Frank. We heard about John Cook's death in the news.
That's fine. I'll tell him. We saw Frank and John Cook together the day John was murdered.
Well, that certainly is interesting. What else did you see, dear? The Sheriff's Department is now in a position to conclude this investigation. They know a great deal about Frank Arona, and they're learning more every minute. And now we have neighbors who provide the tip that pushed this case over the edge.
We saw John with Frank the day he was murdered.
Wait, you knew John Cook?
Yes. Through Frank Arona's mother, Rosemary.
They tell Gansel Rosemary Arona owned the house and was a very nice woman and lived there for many, many years. And when she died, Frank Arona moved in, and there's been nothing but trouble ever since.
Tell me about the trouble.
He was just not a nice person.
Yeah, he would fly off the handle for no reason.
What about John Cook? You say you knew him through Frank's mother?
He would go over to Rosemary's house and do some work for her when she was still alive. And then we saw John's truck in Frank's driveway.
They assumed he was there to do repairs on the house, as he had done in the past. Then they saw something very unusual. John Cook got in the passenger side,
Why would John let Frank drive his truck?
and Frank Arona got into the driver's side of the truck, and they left the area.
Are you sure about that?
Yes.
Gloria and I kept records.
Neighbors did keep a diary of dates, times, vehicles, which was an immense asset for law enforcement.
Is there anything else you want to tell me?
Oh, a few days after this, Frank was burning his furnace for some god-awful reason.
They said whatever he was burning had a terrible, terrible odor, and they both wondered what it could be that he had in that stove.
You mind if I hang on to this?
Go ahead.
Thank you very much. You've been very helpful.
inside Frank Arona's house, the search is wrapping up.
As investigators were going through the home, they positively identified items that were purchased on John Cook's credit card, various electrical components, a leather coat, shoes.
Find anything?
Yeah. Here, take a look at these.
We also discover Frank Arona is in debt to the tune of $3,500.
These all bills?
Yeah.
All the financial burdens were crashed down on him. So it becoming evident through the investigation that he used the credit cards and ultimately pawned the items to satisfy some debt. The reason for the homicide was just money, nothing else.
We searched his furnace like you asked. We found this.
A Wrangler blue jean button was discovered, as well as a rivet from blue jeans inside of the ashes inside of the home of Frank Arona.
John's daughter told me more Wranglers. Make sure you log that.
When John Cook was discovered, he was in a pair of boxer shorts and socks because his Wrangler jeans were burning in Frank Arona's stove, and the brass button establishes that.
Mr. Arona, please stand up.
Huh?
On your feet.
With the evidence that was found inside of his home, plus the witnesses placing John Cook there.
You're under arrest for first-degree murder.
Are you kidding me?
No.
I arrested Frank Arona on the murder of John Cook.
Let's go.
Once in custody, Frank Arona reasserts his right to remain silent. But at this point, detectives have a clear idea of what transpired.
If you consider the facts, consider this, that Frank Arona is depressed. He lost his mother. He doesn't have any money. He's being pursued by debt collectors. He becomes a pretty desperate guy.
You gotta be kidding me.
And with all the bad luck he'd been having, now he's got a leak in his roof. So he calls John Cook and says, hey, can you come over and patch my roof up for me?
Okay. John knew the Arona family.
I shouldn't be too hard to see.
I don't think John Cook went over there with any worries, just to do a job, maybe make a few dollars.
You have a ladder?
Yeah.
When John Cook arrives to make that repair, he presents himself to a criminal.
And for whatever reason, Frank thought that John had a lot of money and could help him get out of debt.
As an easy target.
Well, I think they should hold that leak for a few days. You're gonna have to get a roofer up there soon. Like I told your mother, sooner or later that roofer's gonna go.
What's this? What's it look like? I need money.
Is this a robbery? Look, I don't want any trouble.
Just shut up, old man. You listen to me and you won't die.
He makes a threat and asks him to go to his bank.
Look, I don't have much, but you can have it.
Yeah, I will. Now move. Move!
And he got John to get into his own vehicle with him. And then from there, Frank drove to 2 different banks and withdrew all the money that John Cook had in the world. $350.
This is pathetic.
I told you I didn't have much.
Shut up.
Look, I did what you asked. I want to go home.
No, not yet. Something I need you to do for me first.
Arona obviously knows if he releases John, he's going to get arrested again. So Mr. Cook needs to die.
He didn't want to kill him out in public somewhere. The safest place to do that would be Eddie's house.
Look, I did everything you said. You don't have to do this.
When you look at the viciousness of the attack, stabbed 13 times, that's overkill. I think Frank was upset that John had $350. He wanted more money than that. And just continually stabbed him until he was dead.
He disrobes the victim after he kills him, burns the evidence in his wood-burning stove, including the victim's clothing. And he disposes of Mr. Cook as if he is yesterday's trash.
John never did anything to... And for what? For really nothing.
They found him guilty of first-degree murder, among other charges. And even though the jury didn't come back with the death penalty, justice was finally closed for the family. They did have closure.
Nice work.
A day has never gone by that I don't think of him or what happened. So it's been really, really hard. I would like everyone to know how much he loved all of his family.
My grandpa was really missed in my childhood. This loss has taught me the importance of each and every day that we get to spend with our family members. Tomorrow is never promised.
John Cook was a responsible member of the community who loved his children, who carried on an honest life. His only crime? He encounters a monster, Frank Arona, and loses his life in the process.
A beloved father of two is slain outside his home.
They were waiting for him.
He walked out. He never came back.
Police have to kind of be scratching their heads because it wasn't the kind of thing where Tito had a lot of money, that he was robbed.
But Lieutenant Joe Kenda soon learns this hardworking man
Tell you how beautiful you look tonight.
was harboring some explosive secrets.
He had a reputation as a ladies' man.
We're looking for someone.
Tito's parents tell police, well, you need to look into the crowbar incident.
People always say that these things are a coincidence. I don't believe in coincidences. You are never certain when gunfire might begin. Any second, or maybe never, but you have to be prepared for that possibility. There's one thing that never changes: murder. A life has been taken. Their stories are now my stories. I never know where a case is going to lead, but I'll never stop until it's solved. Somebody has to look out for the victim.
If you kill, I will find you.
It's the middle of the night. Officer Carey's patrolling the Stratton Meadows area.
Though so far it's been a quiet night, due to a recent spike in gang violence, patrolmen like Peter Carey are on high alert.
Well, right away, as a police officer, you also have to be very cautious because you don't know what you're coming up on.
And in a cul-de-sac on the south side of town, Officer Carey's night takes a dramatic turn.
And he notices in the shadows what looks to be a man bent over.
Hey, stop right there. Right there. Stop right there.
And he sees the figure look at him.
I'm awake. I haven't been to sleep. But I would get up and walk around the house quietly. No lights on. Look out the windows. Just to maybe help me relax a little bit so I could go to sleep.
It's Kenda. Stratton Meadows. Okay. Let's get Detective Anderson on the scene. He knows that neighborhood.
At that time, I was a sergeant, so it was my job to assign detectives to the case.
I'll be there soon.
I wrote a note to Kathy telling her where I went, and I took off. It's a working class area, relatively low rent area at the time. A lot of older buildings near active railroad tracks, that kind of a neighborhood.
Hey, good morning, Sergeant. Anderson? So what we got? Gunshot victim.
I was notified by Joe Kenda to come to the scene that I'd be in charge of doing the crime scene investigation. When I arrived, the victim had already been transported to the hospital, and he had been shot once in the head.
Currently in critical condition. That appears he's gonna make it. Any idea on him?
Yeah, his name is Kenneth Valdez.
Seems like the neighbors know him as Tito.
Tito and I were pretty close. He's my first cousin, and people respected him.
Do you have any leads yet?
First officer here, Officer Carey, detained a witness named Harold Ayers. We don't think he's involved in the shooting, though.
Can you take me where they found the body?
Sure, right down here.
He says Tito also has a common-law wife that they've had children together, and her name is Alberta. And he points at an older pickup truck and says that's Tito's truck, and he lives in this area. We walk over to the spot where Tito's body was. There's a little bit of blood on the asphalt and a set of keys, probably Tito's.
It's kind of late for a stroll around the block. Maybe he's headed home.
He is exposed. He's apparently on foot in this area when he takes a gunshot wound to the forehead. How did he come to be here?
Officer Carey says he thinks that the head wound was caused by a large caliber weapon. We can't find any shell casings.
Yeah. Take a look at those skid marks.
I see acceleration skid marks in the street. So that says to me that whoever did this is probably in that car. Those acceleration marks are in flight after the shot is fired. We don't know. At any rate, the car is most likely involved in this.
Let's go talk to the witness. Is that him over there?
Yeah, it's
We were fortunate that the reporting party was still there, so I was able to talk to Mr. Ayers about what he had seen, what he had heard.
Mr. Ayers, how did you know Mr. Valdez?
The guy that got shot? Actually, I don't know him. I live on this block with my wife. We were out this morning when everything happened.
He said they were taking a road trip, and he wanted to make sure that they got an early start before traffic. They were loading up the car with their suitcases.
Hey, can you go grab the cooler when you go back inside?
Oh, sure. Hey, do we need more ice?
I think we're okay.
I heard car tires screeching, so I looked up and I see this dark van peeling out.
Then he goes over to see what happened and finds our victim.
Luckily, one of your officers was driving around in the area, although I think he thought I shot him, so we're gonna sort that out.
See any details on the vehicle? License plate number?
I didn't catch the number, but I'm pretty sure it had California plates.
And what was interesting is Officer Carey reported seeing that same vehicle leaving the area.
So we know that we're looking for a sedan, and even if you can't get the license plate number, if you can get the state, especially an out-of-state license plate, that's very helpful.
Did you see anyone in the car?
It was dark, but it was just the driver, I'm sure. He was wearing a ball cap, and I didn't get a good look.
I'm gonna put out a bolo in the suspect vehicle. Alright, thanks.
Hey, I hate to be such a bother, but we really need to get going.
Thank you for the information. I hope you can still enjoy your trip.
He's got a good attitude, but he's told this story now 2 or 3 times to 2 or 3 different policemen. He's still concerned about getting to his destination, which is perfectly understandable.
With little to go on, Kenda and Anderson decide to speak with the victim's common-law wife, Alberta Gonzalez.
I'm sorry. I'm just so shocked right now.
She is incredibly distraught, shocked, crying. Her demeanor and the way she presents is a clear indicator she has no knowledge of this or no involvement in it.
He had a nice wife, my cousin Alberta. She was good to him.
I'm sorry, Alberta. Do you know what Tito was doing up at this late hour?
Yeah, he was doing someone a favor.
She said he was helping friends move into an apartment.
He called me and said that it turned into a little party to celebrate the move. No big deal. He came home a little after 2.
And told her herself.
He was supposed to work in the morning, so he was going to drive over to his dad's house and get the tools and come right back. But he didn't even make it to his truck.
Walked out, he never came back. So we now know he was walking to his truck when somebody interrupted that with a bullet.
Can you tell us about these friends that Tito was helping to move?
Jose and Galina Torres, they just moved down the block.
Shortly after sunrise, the detectives head to the Torres residence.
It's really important to get as much information as you can as soon as you possibly can. So in this case, we felt it was important to wake a number of people up to find out who was at the party.
Is something wrong?
Galina, what's going on?
When you talked about your friend, Tito Valdez,
Is he okay?
I'm afraid we have some very bad news.
They were very, very surprised that Tito Valdez had been shot and that he was hospitalized.
There's a strong chance he won't make it.
God, he was just here.
Khalifas. Was it? This was Khalifas.
They were soldiers from California, hardcore gang members that were serviced in the army here at Fort Carson.
They are an association of friends who call themselves a gang to protect each other from insult and name-calling. They defend their honor at all costs.
You should come inside.
Now, this is a major problem. If we're dealing with gangs, there may be a lot more body bags before this is over. We have Tito Valdez shot in the forehead. We're trying to determine if that motive lies somewhere in the gang world and is connected to the car with California plates.
Right away, they're thinking, was Tito somehow involved in a gang? Was this a drive-by shooting? You can have a seat there.
so Tito's having issues with Khalifas?
No, not Tito. But we had a little party last night, and some of our friends are in Los Meadows, Benito's.
He said his associates belong to Los Barrios, which is a neighborhood Hispanic gang in this area. These people are not in the drug business. They don't do contract homicides. They don't do anything that gangs do.
Strand Meadows neighborhood was claimed as a gang. We were never a gang. We were one big family. And we stuck together and we took care of our neighborhood.
So, wait, Tito's not involved in Los Meadows?
Since that's where Tito and his family and his friends all grew up.
I think this could have anything to do with the Asplin shooting. You know that trial's going on right now.
Yeah, man. Everyone's been on edge around here. Chris Romero was actually here tonight with Tito. They're best friends.
We had a shooting in the recent past where two members of the Khalifas had shot a member of Los Meadows Barrios, a Mr. Chris Romero.
He survives it, but there's a lot of hostility within both those gangs.
That case was investigated. Two Khalifas were arrested and charged with attempted first-degree murder.
You know, it's a miracle Chris is alive. You know, I told him to keep his head down until this whole trial thing is over with.
So why don't you walk us through what happened tonight?
Well, we just moved in yesterday, and it just turned into a little party. Yeah, having a good time, though.
There's nothing left in here.
Well, what time is it? We go pick some more up. You guys want to get some more?
Yeah, that'd be great.
The party giver says that around 10 o'clock, Tito and two friends named Chris and Ron collect money from the crowd and they make a beer run.
So did they come back with the beer?
I think so. But I don't know. We were in the other room. But I don't know what happened to Tito.
Well, obviously Chris and Ron do. What if they went out and encountered the Khalifas at the liquor store? Now, are they angry about their people going to jail?
Does Ron have a last name?
Castro.
All right. Thank you very much.
Please give us a call if you hear anything else.
So now we need to find Chris and Ron and find what they have to say about this beer run.
Fortunately, Detective Anderson already knows where Chris Romero lives.
Hey, where you headed at this hour?
Detectives, I'm on my way to work. What you guys doing here? What's up?
My detectives established rapport in this neighborhood, and Anderson had established a relationship with him to where they could get information when other officers couldn't.
Hey, this is Sergeant Kenda. We're working the shooting that just happened. Your friend Tito got shot. We're taking a drive-by.
What? Who did this to him?
We don't know. That's why we need your help.
Hey, I heard you and Tito were at a party last night. Did you get in any trouble?
No, man, not when I was with them. I had to go to work early, so Ron and Tito picked me up, and then they dropped me off back at the house. I don't know what happened after that.
Chris seemed entirely believable. We will check his alibi, but for our purposes, I really don't think he knows what happened to his friend.
All right, we'll let you get to work. Sorry about your friend.
Yeah.
Hey, call me if you hear anything.
I will, man.
As we're leaving,
Hey, Anderson.
he says he saw a strange car cruising the neighborhood the last couple of days.
They were definitely looking for someone.
People always say that these things are a coincidence. I don't believe in coincidences.
So that sent up signals that perhaps there was some connection for this shooting with Tito.
What did the guy look like?
Had a cap on, probably a white guy.
Thanks for the help.
Thanks.
Now, who is that guy? And who is he looking for, and what motivates him to be in this neighborhood? Is this part of our shooting? It certainly could be.
Hoping to get a statement from the victim, Kenda and Anderson head to St. Francis Hospital.
Excuse me. Can you tell me the status of one of your patients, Kenneth Tito Valdez?
It doesn't look like there's much we can do for him.
Tito's condition is extremely critical. The bullet enters his forehead, goes through the center of his brain, and stops at the back of his skull.
He's lost all brain function, and so it's just a matter of time before they pronounce him.
Is his family here?
Yeah, we're right back there.
Thank you. Thank you.
Our next move was to see who we could talk to there. We knew that Tito's parents and his sister were there. We talked to his father.
Mr. Valdez, we're so sorry about your son. We need to ask you a few questions.
I said, we are here to find out who hurt your son. That's what we're here for. You can help us with that to get to the bottom of this.
We will do anything to help. Was your son having any problems with him recently?
Actually, I know who did this to my son. He tried to kill him already.
He said the guy stabbed him with a crowbar.
Really?
Well now, did he trade his crowbar for a gun? We're investigating the shooting of Kenneth Valdez, who is known as Tito. He's not expected to survive, and we just learned that someone tried to kill him in the past by stabbing him with a crowbar.
Can you tell us about the stabbing incident?
Tito was leaving a party in Deerfield Hills when it happened.
Hey, what you looking at, man?
That was good.
Nothing, man. Nah, you looking at something, man. What you looking at? Huh? I said I ain't looking at nothing. Yo, it's okay.
They never really knew why it happened, why this person picked him.
He got away from... You should talk to your friends on the force. It was never solved.
When did this occur?
It was a little over a year ago.
Since the police weren't able to track down who that suspect was that attacked Tito, doing it now is going to be equally challenging.
Unfortunately, it happened so long ago, I think it's unlikely to be connected to our shooting.
Well, thank you for the information. We'll be in touch.
Sorry about your son, Mr. Valdez.
With little to go on, detectives believe their best chance at moving the investigation forward is by locating Tito's friends.
Here's the files you asked for.
Thanks. Any word on around Castro's whereabouts?
Not yet. The team is out trying to locate him. Word is moves around a lot.
Ron Castro is another person that left the housewarming party with Tito, and so police want to track him down as well to find out what's going on.
In the meantime, we're trying to see what we can find out about that car that was seen leaving the crime scene.
Excuse me, Sergeant. We've got someone who wants to talk to you about the Valdez case, a Ron Castro.
Wow.
That was fast.
See what he has to say.
Thank you.
Castro was no stranger to the police department, so he came in.
Heard you wanted to see me? Look, I didn't do anything. Okay, I was just with Tito buying some beer.
Well, we're not accusing you of doing anything. We're just trying to find out who did this to your friend. Why don't you walk us through what happened at the party?
It was a pretty low-key party. We ran out of beer. So me and Tito went out to get some beer at the liquor store. Yo, we're here.
They met a couple girls that they kind of casually know. So they come back with beer and two girls who are now at the party. Tito, as it turns out, had a reputation as a ladies' man. He wasn't particularly loyal to his common-law wife.
Come on, Tito. Make me a drink.
You got it, babe.
According to Ron Castro, though the two girls were friendly and flirtatious, they often ran with a crowd that wouldn't be welcome at a Los Barrios get-together.
He thinks that possibly this could be something involving jealousy and gang members.
And they were loosely affiliated with the rival gang, the Khalifas. One drew our attention immediately. Her name's Gata, that is Spanish for cat, and she had a bit of a reputation for sleeping around with members of both gangs.
Tell you how beautiful you look tonight?
Yeah, tell me again.
So he's all over Gata, and they're having a good time. So what is Tito unwittingly doing? He is playing with a grenade with the pin almost out.
Yeah, those barrios know how to throw a good party. What? Well, you didn't want to take me out. So what was I supposed to do? Stay home?
She's talking to somebody from the Khalifas because he hears her say that. So what is Gata doing? Stirring the pot with a radioactive spoon. That's what she's doing. She's playing this game.
Just stop, okay? No, I'm not leaving. Stop.
And then she got off the phone and went to go look for Tito.
Ron also tells us that Tito leaves with Gata for about 20 minutes. When Tito comes back, he says that he had sex with Gata.
But here's the thing. When them two snuck up to fool around, these two guys showed up, looking for her.
One is a white male, the other is a Hispanic male, and he's never seen either one of them before.
Hey, can I help you?
We're looking for someone.
She goes by Gata. She's a pretty little thing. You seen her?
Oh, yeah, she just left with Tito.
Where'd they go?
They didn't.
Hey, bro, let's get out of here. Just like that, they took off.
Now we have to find out if there's a jealous lover who's now after Tito for being with his girlfriend.
Where can we find this woman? Give me the pen. She's not really that hard to find.
So finding her and finding out through her who these two guys were, that becomes very important.
Yeah? What do you want?
Sergeant Kenda, Detective Anderson. We're looking for Gata.
That's me.
She's a beautiful girl, but you can tell she partied hard the night before.
We need to talk to you about Tito Valdez.
Okay, what?
We heard you were at a Los Barrios party with Tito last night.
No. Who said that? I was with my roommate at a bar last night.
So you do or you don't know Tito Valdez?
I know Tito, I just wasn't with him last night.
She denies leaving the party in his company.
Frankly, I don't care who you did or didn't leave. We're looking for two guys we think you know.
We want to know, who is it that you called from the party? Was it your boyfriend? Were you trying to make him jealous?
No, I don't know what you're talking about. I actually don't remember much from last night. Maria! Wow. I don't remember. I must have been pretty drunk.
It's believable that she is that drunk. They drink every day, and they drink to excess every day. So we're not getting anywhere with these girls when all of a sudden my radio goes off.
Kenda?
for Kenda?
Sergeant, patrol has eyes on a dark red four-door sedan with California tag and a white male driver.
They report that he has found a vehicle matching description in the area of the shooting.
They're going to make contact and are requesting backup.
Definitely we're on the way. Kenda out. All right, we gotta go. Thanks for the information. Touch.
While Kenda and Anderson race to the scene, Officer Avert and his partner are preparing to make contact with the driver.
Hey, keep your hands where I can see them.
You have no idea who this person is or what he's capable of. You take no chances. We're investigating the shooting of Tito Valdez, who is not going to survive. Patrol officers have stopped a car with California plates that match the suspect description. They're going to approach the driver with extreme caution.
We were very interested in finding out who that person was and what evidence might be in that vehicle.
Is there anything I can do for you today, officer?
Yes, sir. I need you to step out of the vehicle and keep your hands right where I can see them.
He's very calm. That's pretty unusual.
Step right back here.
I run a red light or something?
No, your vehicle matches the description of a vehicle used in a shooting last night. Do you have any ID on you?
It's in my pocket. You mind?
Go ahead and get it. Step over here with my partner. Sir, stand right here.
He has not one driver's license, but two, and they're both in different names with his picture on them.
How is it that you have two state IDs? One says that you're Raymond Oland and one says that you're Raymond Parker? How does that work? I need you to put your hands on the car, sir.
That's a major red flag. People who have different identifications are usually fugitives from justice.
Do you have any weapons in the car or on your person that we need to know about?
No.
He looks in the floorboard front passenger side. He sees 3 or 4 large jars stuffed full of coins. Then he looks in the back seat.
You got a gun. Hey, go ahead and hook him.
And they did see in plain view in the back seat a short-barreled black revolver.
Minutes later, Kenda and Anderson arrive on the scene.
I've got a suspect in my car. The gun's still in his car and nobody's touched it.
All right, thank you. Yeah, looks like one round was fired.
It's a 5-shot, 38 caliber revolver with a 2-inch barrel.
Want to recover the bullet from the victim to be able to see if they match up?
I am totally convinced that one shot is in Tito Valdez's forehead from our man with 2 driver's licenses.
Go ahead and bag that for me. Yes, sir. See what he has to say.
He's sitting in the back in handcuffs. He's still very calm.
So I got a quick question for you.
Okay.
What's the penalty in this state for felony assault?
It's pretty serious.
So what's going to happen to my car?
Well, it's going to be impounded.
You gonna need to write a receipt for me then?
A receipt? For what?
He also makes a point to say that there's money in that car. Lots of money in his estimation.
You mean the coins?
Yeah, well, that all adds up, doesn't it?
You're under arrest for the attempted first-degree murder of Tito Valdez.
Yeah. I'm gonna need all that money now, aren't I?
You know you have the right to remain silent. You won't talk to us?
No, I want my attorney.
Well, all right then. It's as if he's confessing to this without doing so.
All right, get him out of here.
He's a very experienced criminal, and we don't scare him, and the system doesn't scare him either.
While Ray Parker, a.k.a. Ray Oland, is brought down to the station to be booked, Kenda heads back to his office to review the case.
I don't believe that Mr. Parker was driving down the street and selected Tito Valdez as the only pedestrian and shot him. We need to learn what the connection is between Parker, the gun, the money in the car, the Khalifas, and Tito Valdez. Dispatch informed me on the phone that Tito Valdez is pronounced dead from a gunshot wound to the head.
And it's tragic because he was a young man with 2 children. He had loving family members, his parents, his sister, and his death touched a lot of people in that community. And it's a tragic loss.
Well, we officially have a homicide on our hands. Parker's facing a first-degree murder charge.
His body's transferred to the El Paso County morgue, where we will recover the bullet, which is still in his head, and compare it to the weapon we found in Parker's back seat.
I looked into that gun. It's got an interesting history, actually.
How so?
Seems it was taken in a burglary about 10 years ago.
It turns out that the weapon might have been part of an insurance fraud.
Did you find anything in his background check?
Yeah, a few things.
We checked with California. He has a criminal history, but it's not that serious. He has a wife, but he's left her.
We're still trying to locate her. He's down in process.
All right, let's get his mugshot into a photo lineup and circulate it to all the people who were at the house party and to Tito's family. Maybe that'll jog a memory.
Got it.
Police have to establish some kind of connection between Parker and Tito. And one of the things they have to figure out was...
He's not a member of the Khalifas, as far as anybody knows.
Jose, you recognize anybody on there?
Nah. No one from Los Marios or Khalifas.
Did anybody on that sheet show up at your house party looking for Gata?
Gata? I remember two guys were looking for her, but no. Neither guy is on here.
What about this guy? You recognize him?
Never saw him in my life.
Thank you.
As far as we can tell, he had nothing to do with Gata. There was no earlier connection that we were aware of with Tito.
The next day, Kenda and Anderson switch gears and delve into Ray Parker's background.
We determined that Mr. Parker was employed as a short order cook at a restaurant in Colorado Springs. We go to this restaurant.
So what do you want to know about Ray?
We identify his best friend in the restaurant is another cook by the name of David Gillespie.
He's only been in the Springs a few months. We share an apartment together.
Well, what kind of guy is he?
Quiet, does his job, good worker.
Did you ever know him to carry a gun?
I mean, he's never talked about owning one. Do you mind if I smoke?
Go ahead. You ever mention any problems with Kenneth Valdez? Goes by Tito?
Doesn't ring any bells. I know he had problems with some guy in California.
David says, well, Ray Parker had recently separated from his wife. He caught her in bed with another man.
Got real broken up about it. Left her, moved here, but he never mentioned anything about Tito.
I'm looking at this guy, and I can tell he's holding back on me. Now, why is that?
David, I can tell he's telling us something.
I'm being straight with you.
Don't waste our time.
Damn it. Someone broke into our apartment, robbed my bedroom.
One of the key pieces of information we learned is that David, the co-worker, did have a gun, and that gun had been stolen.
It was a .38 special.
Why'd you start the burglary?
I couldn't. I didn't legally own the gun.
So he was afraid if he admitted he was in possession of a stolen firearm, it would arrest him.
We were able to confirm that the gun originally was stolen so many years ago that the statute of limitations had run its course.
Was anything else missing?
I had a bunch of money gone. I've been saving up change for months. All gone. I had some cassettes missing too.
Well, we know where they are now, don't we? They're in Mr. Parker's car. You don't have to be Sherlock Holmes to connect that event.
Kenda and Anderson believe Ray Parker stole the money, cassettes, and .38s. The million-dollar question, though, is how is this incident connected to the murder of Tito Valdez? And what could possibly be Ray Parker's motive?
Is there any updates on the Valdez case?
Yeah, ballistics says that slug they pulled out of Valdez matched it back to Parker's gun.
Great. Did you find any connections between them?
And nothing yet. But I've got my CIs working on it right now.
We still have some ghosts in this thing. We're still not exactly sure why he did this.
Hey, as a matter of fact, that's one of my guys now. You feel like taking a trip? This guy's solid.
Yeah, let's go.
A few minutes later, Kenda and Anderson arrive at the back of the strip mall, not far from the Stratton Meadows neighborhood.
Law enforcement have for years used confidential informants, we refer to them as CIs, to solicit information without disclosing who these people are.
Hey, thanks for getting back with me.
Yeah, well, I like Tito. It's a shame he died for nothing.
So what's up? What do we know?
You know Ron Castro, right? Word on the street is this is all his fault.
He's saying Ron Castro, Tito Valdez's good friend, is mixed up in all of this. He conveniently forgot to say that the last time we spoke. Well, my. man named Ray Parker for the murder of Tito Valdez. But we've been unable to determine a motive or how they were connected until now. A CI has informed us that Tito Valdez's good friend Ron Castro may be the missing link.
Ron Castro? What's he got to do with this?
He's been selling drugs.
Tito helped him?
That's the thing. He didn't have anything to do with the drugs. He was just Ron's friend.
All right. Hey, thanks, man. I appreciate it.
According to the informant, the trouble started a few days earlier when Tito was driving Ron home.
Tito was kind of a go-along guy. He went along with the Los Belos Barrios, and that got him in some level of jam more than once.
You mind making a quick stop? Yeah, man. What's going on? Nothing. Just gotta take care of something quick.
Ron sells cocaine that's been doctored to the max. There's some cocaine in it, but very little. So Castro's making a living selling bunk junk on the street.
Look to that car right there. Right there? Yeah, that's good.
This won't take long.
Hurry up.
The informant explains that although Ray Parker hadn't been in town long, he'd quit.
Stay cool.
Yeah, don't worry about him.
You got stuff?
Yeah. Alright, okay. Alright.
And he sells some to Ray Parker, and when he made that sale, Tito Valdez was with Castro. He was not an active participant in the sale, but he was with them.
Hurry up, let's go. Hey, look. I wouldn't be around when you do this again.
Okay, let's go.
I'm being serious. It won't happen again. Let's go. Come on.
It was probably dangerous for all of us to know Ron because I didn't care what he took from anybody.
Detectives surmise that while Tito drove Ron home, Ray Parker tested out the product.
He's a short-order cook in a restaurant. He doesn't have a lot of money. He recently left his wife, and he's using drugs to soothe his pain of his troubled life.
Oh! Damn, that burns! Oh.
He spends his hard-earned money for what he believes is cocaine, and it turns out it isn't.
Oh.
Damn it.
Then he is furious. He wants to take revenge.
And he knew his roommate David had a gun.
In this case, we have a guy, Mr. Parker, who is a criminal. He does what he wants. He wants a gun, he takes it. He wants that money, he takes that. He takes the cassette tapes as well.
Investigators suspect that after robbing his roommate, Ray Parker cruised around Stratton Meadows looking for Ron and Tito, and recognized Tito's truck from the drug deal.
It was almost like it was casing the neighborhood. So he was waiting for him when he walked outside.
And it just so happened that Tito had forgotten his tools for a job the next day and had to run out and get them.
There you are, you bastard.
Hey, man. Hey, do I know you?
This was really a senseless murder. It didn't have to happen.
And it's an absolute waste of a life over something he didn't even do.
They took my friend, man, you know. Tito's from me bad, you know. They hurt me bad, man.
Ray Parker pled guilty to second-degree murder. He was sentenced to 16 years in prison.
It's definitely a sad story. Tito leaves behind a wife, some kids that will never know him, people who loved him.
Tito Valdez had some problems, yes. He was born into a tough situation that he tried to make the best of. And the loss of his life basically came down to being in the wrong place at the wrong time.
这应该是跟这并一块儿，我都应该坐中间来了。谢谢喵敏，谢谢喵敏的幽默。多少钱？60块钱往返，大家没？哎，咱家有40级的哥们儿喊个喇叭吗？随便看大海或者边发秦皇岛，帮我喊个喇叭行吗？40级大哥喊个分区喇叭，有40级大哥吗？直播间里喊个分区喇叭呗，方便。斌子带你跨大海。小姐咱真会玩你告诉你，咱跟那玩直播，咱跟那整半天，咱光跟这看，嘿，这不高，就是怕掉下去。我操，这万一要掉下去怎么办？真是兄弟，你说万一要是他妈这链子松了怎么办呀？西酱马老板 mini， 咱家40级大哥在吗？秋风兄弟呀，秋月呀，帮我喊个喇叭呗，分区喇叭。宾带你看大海，喊个分区喇叭。40级大哥们。打斌子掉海里了也行，斌子掉海里来省点啊，哥几个用2个得了，咱们29还得用啊，迷你少7张，我的真爱们，省点再喊2个得了，赶上了就赶上了，赶不上就赶不上了。发火的谢秋。现在所在的位置是秦皇岛市北戴河，然后呢，咱们要去的是暹罗岛，这是我国唯一的一个跨海索道。我现在是在，这应该是北戴河，这应该是渤海啊。哎，你说万一啊，我就说万一啊，你说万一这要真他妈掉下去了，这他妈不就完了吗？你妈谁救你来呀？这他妈离岸那么远，你都真过来游过来，就你早他妈挂了，真是哎！你说就算这底下有救生圈，可是你说你都掉海里了，这人就懵逼了，都哪还有功夫勾救生圈去？对一个不会游泳的人来说，你要等岸边的人过来，我估计准他妈哎呦完了，真是。